Okay, gentlemen, congratulations and welcome to the 80th Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. This is our coin for the toss today. This is the Alabama logo, and this is the Michigan State logo. The winner of the toss will be the logo left up. I want to introduce to you Mr. Dan Novakal, chairman of the Cotton Bowl Classic. He will do the tossing of the coin. Mr. Novakal, will you do the honors, please?
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Alabama's won the toss.
Defer.
You want to defer the option. You want the ball. Which end do you want to kick from?
I want to kick that way.
Kick this way. Spin this direction. Michigan State.
They rehearsed this 4 times yesterday. The Tide won the toss every time, and they win it for real. To Heather Cox with Mark D'Antonio.
Chris, thanks so much. Coach, your quarterback, Connor Cook, by his own assessment, said he hasn't played in a game at 100% since injuring his throwing shoulder 6 weeks ago.
Yeah,
what do you need from him tonight? What do you need from him?
Got to play. Got to play. He's ready to go. We got to go, man.
Coach, what's the single most important thing you can do?
Don't flinch.
Oh, all right, Coach, thanks. Now let's head to Tom Rinaldi with Nick Saban.
Coach, after all the practice and the preparation, what's the single greatest unknown in your mind in this game?
Well, I think the 26 days off and how you're going to come out and play. So I think our guys have prepared well, they practice well, and I think we're ready to play well. It's just going to be a matter of the discipline that we have and how we execute and how we can play for 60 minutes in the game.
Appreciate it. Good luck, Nick.
All right, thank you.
Chris.
15 years ago, Nick Saban was the boss of Michigan State. Mark D'Antonio worked for him, but I think he's more than tired of being called a Saban disciple.
Well, how about that? I mean, he's ready to go. He said, "Don't flinch." To Heather about the key to this football game for his team. That's the message.
This has been the Nissan pregame rush, and glad to feel the rush in here. This is about, I would say, an Alabama crowd of 55-45, but pretty close to 50-50.
It sure is. Great scene, great atmosphere, great build-up, and let's just have a great game now.
Let's take a look at each team's plan for success presented by Northwestern Mutual.
We have talked throughout the day about Connor Cook. Big night throwing the football to set up the run. The defensive backs, they've got to hold up in one-on-one coverage, especially when Alabama takes shots downfield in man-to-man coverage. For Alabama, it's attack through the air on early downs, and also on defense, disrupt the timing between Connor Cook and his receivers. Iowa did a very good job of that. It's not just about Connor Cook. It's about the Spartans wide receivers. Can they get away from press coverage from Alabama?
So the Tides, junior Adam Griffith to boot it away. Aaron Burbridge and Delton Williams deep for the Spartans. Semifinal number 2 and a ticket to the title game at stake right now. Like most of Griffith's kickoffs, this one is deep and not to be returned. Fifth-year senior Connor Cook comes from northern Ohio. His health has been so much an issue. His leadership has been questioned. He's been very defiant about that. But look at the big game resume. He's won 3 bowl games in the last 3 years.
Yeah, people can say whatever they want about why he wasn't elected captain as a 5th-year senior, 3-year starter. All I know is this guy wins football games. 34-4 in his career, making his 39th start tonight. He's got to be on top of his game to give the Spartans a chance to be consistent moving the ball.
Behind a fine offensive line, they'll rotate the backs. Gerald Holmes, the sophomore from Flint, gets the start. And a first down throw. Cook fires far side into strong coverage, and right away a pass interference flag. Marlon Humphrey was in coverage against the top Spartans receiver, Burbridge.
Well, Humphrey, we talked about these receivers getting separation. Humphrey's locked on to him, but he didn't get his head turned around to locate the football. And
Pass interference. Defense, number 26, spot foul, automatic, first down.
And because of the contact, watch, again, they're going to press him all night. Look at the contact and the fact that defensive back's head is not turned around to locate the football. A great call here on this first play of the game by the officials.
Burbridge, a guy with 80 catches this year. He's emerged as the go-to guy after playing a secondary role his first 3 years. This is Holmes. Very tough to find room in the middle of that Alabama defensive line, Kirk, as we check the Chick-fil-A impact players.
Yeah, Michigan State's confident that they will be able to run. They need balance tonight. But when you look at individual players, Aaron Burbridge on the outside leads a very talented group of wide receivers. L.J. Scott, you'll see Holmes, you'll see London. They've got to be able to run the ball, so it's not a very predictable play calling situation. Reggie Ragland, the leader, number 19, the middle linebacker, and Cyrus Jones, along with Humphrey, got to be able to hold up and play great coverage on the outside.
Holmes collides with Cook and is able to muscle forward, but the timing on the play disrupted, and it'll be third down. Jaron Reed, Denzel Duvall combining.
Yeah, the timing's disrupted because, as you said, a quarterback and running back run into each other. Look at the left guard in the background. He also is affected by the penetration by Alabama. The play did not have a chance, but Connor Cook running into Holmes definitely did not help the cause. A little bit of jitters here maybe early as far as Holmes and Cook are concerned there on that play, but it does set up our first third down of the ball game.
In this department, the Spartans have been a lot better than the Crimson Tide this season, converting more than half their third downs, among the top in college football. Empty backfield. Cook fakes and then takes off, not known as a runner, and wrapped up by Reggie Ragland, the middle linebacker, one of the leaders of that defense.
Yeah, they also brought in Ronnie Harrison, a defensive back, so they had 6 defensive backs in the game. Watch Harrison right here. You see him stay home, gets off his blocks, and it allows Reggie Ragland to be able to clean it up. But 15 involved here. The 6 defensive back, Allen 93 involved as well. Interesting that Michigan State, after all their scouting report, quarterback run against Alabama has given them problems, but Connor Cook, not the most fleet-footed in that time, did not have a chance.
Jake Hardbarger is the redshirt freshman punter. Cyrus Jones deep for the Tide, and he makes a fair catch, and the Tide will take over inside their 20. And just a few steps from where Derrick Henry collected the Heisman Trophy. Of course, Times Square, about 3.5 hours till the ball drops. And Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest going over on ABC. We'll keep you posted when the musical acts will take the stage. If you want to bounce over. Meanwhile, Henry and the Tide offense, their opening possession. So the penalty on the opening play of the game doesn't cost Alabama. They quickly force up one afterwards. And it'll be very interesting to see, Kirk, how Lane Kiffin calls this game, because Michigan State, as you said, is so intent on stopping number 2, as most defenses are, but haven't been able to do very well. They pop the ball to Calvin Ridley, the talented freshman, and he finds a few yards around the end. Jay Coker grew up in Mobile, a Crimson Tide fan. Didn't get a lot of big offers, he told me. Went to Florida State, backed up Jameis Winston, who just sent him a text congratulating him on the SEC championship. Transferred here, lost the job to Blake Sims a year ago. And boy, it was a troubled start to the season, wasn't it, for Coker? Benched against Ole Miss, but came off the bench. They lost the game, but he won the team that night.
He sure did. They were down 17-3 when he was inserted, and he played with a different attitude, a different edge to him. And they really found their identity after that game.
It's a second down throw. Catch made by Ridley, who darts across the 30 for a first down as we continue with the Chick-fil-A impact players.
In the first couple plays, they're trying to get the ball out to the perimeter, away from the teeth of that Michigan State defense. Derrick Henry, we know that they want to be able to throw the football. Calvin Ridley has got an ability to get downfield. You have Riley Bull in the middle and Calhoun on third down.
Coker's pass batted down at the line by Lawrence Thomas, the fifth-year senior defensive end. And the D-line also a strength of this team.
Absolutely. It really is, Chris. I think Mark D'Antonio would tell you the difference between some of the great Michigan State teams that he's had over the last 4, 5, 6 years and where they've been the last year or two is up front. Guys like Lawrence Thomas, Malik McDowell, we know about Shalik Calhoun, Joel Heath. They're deep as well. They'll rotate up to 8 guys up front.
On the end around, Ardarius Stewart tries to get to the edge, hit hard and driven down. Monte Nicholson, the free safety, delivering a big hit, but that's a nice gain.
Lane Kiffin right now going away from Derrick Henry, and he's going with a jet sweep, something he picked up from Tom Herman, the head coach at Houston. A nice block by O.J. Howard. Stewart involved, a nice job of being able to accelerate and get downfield, but Ridley also a great block to spring him loose.
Sets up 3rd and 3. This is an area where the Tide have really struggled, especially early in games on 3rd down. Again, they fake it to Henry. Coker backpedaling, flips it to Stewart. Trying to make a man miss, can't. Brought down for a loss, well short of the marker by a swarming Spartans defense, and Bama will have to punt.
Well, 3rd down, as you said, has been a problem for them all year, and we put a lot of that on Jake Coker, Chris, but it also was on the offensive line. And that time, Shalik Calhoun put a lot of pressure on him and got him to get rid of the ball before he was ready. It's something that Lane Kiffin's going to try to avoid all night long because, again, they're 111th in the country when they get to that 3rd down and 6 and a little bit longer.
So Kirk 5 plays in the opening possession. No touches yet for the Heisman Trophy winner. J.K. Scott has come on after a rough start to the season. Look how high this talented sophomore from Colorado can boom the ball, and it bounces down inside the 5-yard line. Spartans didn't field it, and it cost them, and they'll be pinned back inside the 5 for their 2nd possession as Cook goes back to work. Nice night to fly in Texas, and our aero coverage provided by Goodyear. Kick off your drive with tires that return superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Because Garrett King, who was lined up really deep, Kings didn't come up and field it, Kirk. It bounced all the way down inside the 5, a 56-yard punt by Scott.
A mistake there by Kings cost them 15 yards, and now they're pinned back deep in their own territory. That's where you got to be careful with the emotion still early in this game.
L.J. Scott, a talented true freshman, the workhorse in that marathon drive against Iowa in the game. Off the blitz, they flip it to Josiah Price, and the tight end has running room and a 1st down across the 15. To Heather.
Chris, you can see that Connor Cook is wearing a brace on that sprained right throwing shoulder. He said it's a precaution. It makes his shoulder feel tighter when he's wearing it. As you mentioned, he threw max velocity for the first time in practice on Monday. Said it's the hardest he's thrown in 6 weeks. He's been doing daily ice and stem for rehab. Mark D'Antonio did say earlier his quarterback must play with great toughness and stay locked in the pocket for his team to have success, Chris.
And Heather, he hopes get the ball out quickly, and
which he just did.
Take a minimum number of hits.
Yeah.
Play action to Scott. Cook has to dump it short, which again, it's Price in traffic, weaving, and a short gain as the 2nd catch for the junior tight end.
And we've talked about how will he respond to getting hit. What will happen once he gets sacked or he gets pressure. And off this play action, he gets hit here by Ryan Anderson coming off to his right. Gets off of the protect, but he did a good job at dumping it. But you know what? You talk to any quarterback, even when dealing with an injury like that, he can settle into the game now. Now the butterflies and the concerns about the shoulder and getting hit just settles him in, and now it's just about executing.
On 2nd and 7, they feed Scott, who tries to bounce it, but is going to be dropped for a loss. Ryan Anderson again involved in the tackle. It'll be 3rd and long.
Watch the pit here. Ashawn Robinson, number 86, who is going to be a handful tonight. He's right here. Watch him be able to deal with one lineman, another one. He's the one who actually jams that hole. Anderson, 22, is involved, and there's the pursuit of the Alabama defense. But Ashawn Robinson in the middle, along with Jaron Reed, number 90, that's who Michigan State's going to have to contend with, and that's why I think they're trying to go more to the perimeter, because it's tough sledding right now in between the tackles.
Cook is brilliant against the blitz, but the Tide don't often have to blitz, and they rush only 3, and they flush him immediately. Cook around the corner, throws, incomplete. On the sideline, Kings was trying to haul it in. He says he made the catch.
Well, he did make the catch, but he didn't get a foot down. Officials were right on top of that. They flushed him. Actually, Michigan State got him away from the pressure. He tries to get a foot down. Boy, that's why he was arguing it. He's trying to say that his left toe was down before his heel ended up getting down. In that situation, his toe has to stay up. When the heel comes down, he's out of bounds. It's incompletion.
Antonio checking the giant jumbotron overhead. If the call will stand, and Cyrus Jones back to receive the punt from Hartbarger, which is a high one, and drives Jones back to the 30. No fair catch hit immediately. Excellent coverage there by Tyson Smith. So Derrick Henry, when will he touch the ball for the first time? Tide's second possession coming up. Oh, pardon the pun, but it's been a really good year for Derrick Henry. Of course, the second Heisman winner from Alabama, trying to do what Mark Ingram did in '09. Followed it up with a national championship. Cleaned up the other major awards. Broke Herschel Walker's single season SEC rushing mark. 23 rushing touchdowns, and Kirk needs 14 yards to hit 2,000 this season. Lane Kiffin has chose to use him as a decoy, emphasize other guys so far.
And I think Lane Kiffin knew, because of the respect he has for the style of defense Michigan State plays early, he wanted to give him another look going outside. When they get in this pistol formation, usually they hand it off to number 2.
Instead, they fire far side to Ridley, who's been active early, already a few catches. Well, Tom Rinaldi can add on Lane Kiffin's game plan.
Chris spoke with Lane Kiffin before the game, and he said he had scripted the first 22 plays for the offense, but he wanted to gauge how Jake Coker would react to the size of the stage and the magnitude of the moment. He said only after gauging that would he know how he would call this game. Interesting to see that he's yet to hand the ball to number 2. Wants to see how he passes the ball, Chris.
And on cue, he does hand it to number 2, and Henry stutter steps and does move the chains across the 40-yard line. Coker starting 4 for 5, Kirk, but they've been short passes.
And this is the matchup that really you want to see. And being able to control the line of scrimmage is a tough thing to do against the Michigan State defense. But what Tom is saying about Lane's approach makes a lot of sense. You know how Derrick Henry will handle this stage, but how will Jake Coker? He's kind of feeling him out here early.
Henry. That's what the Spartans want to do, isn't it? Get him moving sideways and not get that big body moving downhill.
It's exactly what you have to do. When he squares his shoulders and runs downhill, as we've seen all year, he's a handful. And look at the discrepancy between Henry and the linebacker in the middle, Riley Bullitt, 6'2", 230. Now, he's tenacious, so it's size against quickness and an aggressive attitude from the middle linebacker. Remember, of course, his older brother, Max, his dad, Shane. Grandfather. I mean, you talk about being a Spartan. Number 30 is a Spartan.
Top tackler on this defense, who tweeted congratulations to Henry, says looking forward to facing a Heisman winner here in Arlington. Henry took no insult in that, by the way. Coker chased, flushed, and loses the ball. It rolls out of bounds. Arjun Colhoun, the quarterback, was running him down and knocked the ball out of his hands, lucky to avoid a turnover.
Yeah, and he never even saw him. The blitz comes from right here to his right. And I don't know if that's he turns his back. It's play action. That might be on Derrick Henry, who needs to abort and come off the play action. But nonetheless, nobody picks him up. The ball's on the ground. Fumble.
Colhoun kicked the ball out of bounds or had a chance to recover it. There's also a flag on the play.
Holding, offense, number 50. That penalty's declined, 3rd down.
The right guard that time, Taylor. And the inside of this pass rush from Michigan State will give Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin, and this offensive line fits. They are athletic. They are lean and long. McDowell for Joel Heath. Both those guys are 6'6" in the middle. Keep an eye. We talk about Calhoun all the time on the outside and Thomas, but it's the inside tonight of 92 and 4 that could give Alabama the most trouble.
So Henry out of the game on 3rd and 19, and Kenyon Drake, the versatile running back, to the left of Coker. Spartan fans up and making noise. Coker chased again, dumps it off, dropped by Drake, who's healthy finally. Has 2 screws in the smaller bone in his right arm. Finally says he's good to go, but drops his first chance.
Yeah, they want to try to find him in earlier downs when they can find him in a mismatch, maybe in man-to-man coverage, but 3rd down and long, he's got ability. But again, there's that defensive line. They didn't even have to blitz necessarily to get pressure. That time McDowell was able to get off of the block, and even though they're trying to set up a screen, the timing was off because of the pressure.
And the pressure applied by Colhoun, the Canadian. Attention, John Saunders on that play was the key in the drive. Scott Gets a much lower punt away. Again, Kings doesn't field it, but this time it doesn't take a real big roll. Michigan State will take over at the 32. You're watching the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. A reminder, we've taken two things that you love, made it one thing. Watch ESPN is now the ESPN app. If it's on ESPN, it's going to be on the app. You can download it, start live streaming now. So far, Bama's defense has been typically suffocating in the early going. They've only allowed 19 first quarter points all season. That's one touchdown by Tennessee and 4 other field goals.
You can see Alabama right now playing with safeties that are back. It makes it very tough to be able to get the deep ball. You have to work on your running game and your short passing game when you have 2 safeties.
It's Mondre London's turn to carry the ball. They'll rotate backs and hope that one of them gets hot. But the freshman from Fort Lauderdale gets nothing there.
Well, it's hard to run the football no matter who that back is. Could have Le'Veon Bell back there against that defensive front, and the way they're controlling that line of scrimmage, it's not going to matter. They're going to have to do something to, as I said, I think Connor Cook and the passing game, the short intermediate passing game, occasionally taking some shots, that's what's going to have to come into play for Michigan State. They cannot just rely on 1st and 10 lining up and running the football against that front.
That's Benny McGowan as a backup center, but can slide into the guard position, which he's doing now. Is there a bigger challenge in college football than facing that Alabama defensive front? It is something to see how those guys not just dominate opponents, but dominate their teammates with leadership. It's authoritative, it's animated leadership from A'Shawn Robinson, Jaron Reed, and Jonathan Allen.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, just impressive to watch their attitudes.
Spartans playing fast on 3rd down, trying to catch the tide, napping, and they do. The pass complete down inside the 40-yard line to Felton Davis, the true freshman.
Well, I think Alabama, I think everybody was caught off a little bit surprised by the approach and the hurry up. They were not able to get their alignment, and Michigan State caught Alabama out of position, and Connor Cook, with that experience, makes them pay for it. Hits him right in the seam between the corner and the safety.
First big play of the game, 28 yards on 3rd and 8, and just the second catch for Davis, who's been the understudy this season of Aaron Burbridge. He's a feisty, confident guy, but rarely has had a chance to make plays. Burbridge now in the Wildcat as Cook has moved to the receiver. They'll do this from time to time. Burbridge circling back, cannot escape, drop for a loss. Gang tackling Dylan Lee, the linebacker, got there quickly.
Yeah, the scouting report with Burbridge back there, you know he's not going to throw the ball, so you see a lot of crimson jerseys lined up to take him away. You see the bottom left there, Dylan Lee stays at home in case of that cutback, and that's exactly where he needs to be. The discipline exactly perfectly placed there for Dylan Lee, but they really, the play side, defensive line and linebackers took that away. But when they see 16 back there, they are locked into the running game of Michigan State.
It's a wrinkle that Dave Warner, the play caller, began to use late in the season. He was successful in that long drive against Iowa from time to time. Cook now back in the pocket, delivers incomplete across the middle. Tried to get it to R.J. Shelton in the slot, but the talented freshman Minkah Fitzpatrick right with him.
That looked like a little bit of contact, the crowd reacting there. How about the protection that time with Connor Cook? Alabama just brought 4. He had a lot of time there.
Once again, on 3rd down, Kirk, the Spartans trying to play fast and catch the tide, not ready. Cook harassed and dropped for the first time back at midfield. And that's Jonathan Allen, his 11th sack of the season. The leadership group with his team flexing for the first time.
You know, he's put 15 pounds of muscle on this year, and it's helped him. This is an example of what he can do right here. 93. He's dealing with Benny McGowan. He also goes right through Delton Williams. So the right guard and also the running back trying to slow him down, and they could not because of the strength. But Alabama, by rushing 4, gets after Connor Cook.
Allen, the junior, is all SEC. There's a whole bunch of guys on that unit that are going to be playing on Sundays for quite a few years. Plenty of scouts around tonight. So Hartbarger trying to knock it dead deep. Does a spectacular job, a sideways bounce. And the coverage guys grab it at the 2-yard line. Chris Fry, the linebacker, hustling down there. And now it's Coker's turn to get pinned back deep.
These two teams seem to be kind of feeling each other out. Special teams starting to become a factor because of field position. And there's Chris Fry out of Upper Arlington, Ohio, with a good effort there to keep the ball out of the end zone. They're actually down that at the 4-yard line.
You figured this would be a slugfest, a test of will, physical and mental strength, perhaps right to the fourth quarter.
And that's where special teams and who's going to win the turnover margin will end up becoming a huge factor, and ultimately who ends up winning this football game.
Now will they feed Henry, who's lined up in the end zone? Again, they force him to kind of hop sideways. He can't do that typical Derrick Henry downhill move.
You know, you and I called the first game of the year right here when they played Wisconsin. We saw him a couple times running downhill and being able to break tackles. That's when he breaks tackles. You can see right now, if you watch the Clemson-Oklahoma game and you're sticking around to watch this to see who gets to the championship, as predicted, two completely different style of football games.
Henry, 10 yards on his 3 carries so far. Has it again. Cuts back. Nothing there. Riley Bulla, Lawrence Thomas, and Demetrius Cox, the safety, also in there.
Yeah, we talked about Bulla and his quickness and his size. Right here in the middle, watch how he just comes downhill. He does not allow the lineman to get up to the second level because of how quick he is. Doesn't wait around to read, absorb the offensive line. As soon as he makes his read, he is coming downhill right now, which really what allows him to make that play.
Drake in the slot here.
Coker needs to be very careful here. 3rd down and long.
Drake's in motion. Fires back far side. Catch made by Stewart. He gets a block on the edge. Lowers his shoulder against Darian Hicks. And a first down.
And a great block by Cam Robinson, the left tackle. What an effort to make a block on Darian Harris. Watch him come out. Harris is out there over the slot. Stewart, but watch that block right there. That's the left tackle getting out in space. Here's a great look at it right here. He's able to get out there, get Harris down, and open it up for Stewart to pick up the first down. And a great call there by Lane Kiffin.
That's a 330-pounder moving very quickly. And Henry now, final minute of the first quarter. Muscles out near the 20. He's approaching 2,000 yards. In fact, needs one more to get to that milestone of the season.
Bama's going to go tempo now as well. But a great call there by Lane Kiffin on 3rd down. Taking the thinking aspect and having to read the coverage away from Jake Coker on 3rd down and just making it a quick throw and an easy throw for Coker.
3 receivers to the right. Again, he gets it out quickly to Stewart. He gets another good block on the edge. They're really working the perimeter much more than the middle, and they move the chains again.
That's the most successful aspect of their attack in the first quarter. And Lane Kiffin told me actually today that he's concerned early in the game about Derrick Henry and being able to get on track. His answer, he thought coming in, would be to get the ball to the perimeter in a hurry. Michigan State will blitz. They play a lot of man-to-man. They're soft right now in coverage, so it's an easy throw. And because of the quickness of these receivers, it's a smart call for Bama.
Can Coker snap it before the clock expires in the first quarter? No, did not get it off. So 87 combined yards in a very defensive opening quarter in Arlington. Back after these messages. You're watching the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic.
Sage Steele here in Times Square. Okay, I was just outside and everybody down there is multitasking and watching the game on their smartphones while helping Ryan Seacrest and company count down to 2016. That's all over on ABC right now, so trust me, you can multitask too. Check it out.
All right, Sage, Happy New Year to you. I live in New York. I was one and done in Times Square. Did it once. That was good.
That'd be enough for me, too.
Back here at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic in Arlington, a scoreless first quarter. Bama has held opponents now scoreless 10 times this year in the first quarter. Michigan State 7, so nothing unusual here. Nothing we didn't expect.
That's right. Knowing Lane Kiffin, at some point, he's going to have to take a shot against man-to-man pressure from Michigan State. Try to stretch this Michigan State defense.
Flip it to Drake out of the backfield, and Kenyon, who brings an element of speed and versatility to the offense, scampers quickly out near the 40.
And right now, we're in the second quarter, and you're thinking, where is Derrick Henry? He only has 5 carries for 15 yards. And early in this game, Lane Kiffin is thinking that Michigan State's entire month of preparation has been geared to stop number 2. and he's trying to take advantage of some other areas, and he'll eventually get back to Derrick Henry. But right now it's been quick throws to the perimeter, getting the ball to the speed of this Alabama offense, guys like Drake and Stewart and Ridley.
He's got 2nd and 1, so the potential to take a shot right here if he wants to. Instead, they feed Henry. Henry barrels forward for a first down, and that puts him over the 2,000-yard mark for this spectacular junior season.
Well, what a year he has had, and such a big part of the way Alabama responded to their loss to Ole Miss at home. When they started Cooper Bateman, they were still trying to be kind of the offense with Blake Sims from a year ago, and then settled on the running game of Henry and the play-action pass.
Now it's a 2-back look. Henry just runs over a man and spins for a gain that doesn't look like much, but he gets 5.
It doesn't look like much, but the wear and tear of those kind of runs, they're like body blows in boxing. Body blow, body blow.
Hicks took a blow.
Yeah, he sure did. Into the 4th quarter, those blows start to really add up.
Hicks is a 180-pound corner, so he's giving away about 60, 65 pounds to Henry.
Yeah, and he came in there actually late. It looks like Cox took the initial, the brunt of the hit. He's up and walking off, which is good. He's been such a big part of getting healthy these last 4 games for Michigan State, and affected the entire secondary, which affected the entire defense. They played their best 4 games in the last 4 games of the year.
Hicks missed some time this year with a concussion, also missed some time with mono. Injuries in the secondary, one reason why the no-fly zone for a while, that the legendary Spartan secondary slogan, it became the friendly skies for opponents. They were throwing the ball downfield a lot.
48 passes of 20 yards or longer. That's the most that Mark D'Antonio's defense has ever given up.
Coker to Henry, who powers forward near the marker. It'll be 3rd and short for the Tide. More body blows.
It's interesting that the first quarter, it looks like, and again, he talked about this with Tom Rinaldi, he kind of had a vision or a plan, and as soon as we've gotten into this 2nd quarter, he flipped that play sheet and he's gone back to number 2.
Also flipped the tempo. Henry knocked down near the marker. Monte Nicholson cut him down. It's going to be short. So a decision for Saban from the +45. You can see Reeves go for it. I think he's inclined to do here. They tried to play fast there against Michigan State.
Yeah. Both teams are kind of, and they have it as part of their arsenal. They don't hang their hat on it the way you see some of the other teams around the country. But it's a nice little change up to try to get the defense out of position. We've seen Cook do it, and also Coker.
So the offense staying on the field, huddling around Lane Kiffin and the white visor. They get a measurement here to see exactly how much they need on 4th down. Tide, not a real good team in terms of 4th down efficiency. Just 11 of 23 this year.
Chris, I'll just say this, that because of the size and athletic ability of Coker, the quarterback sneak seems the most obvious because of the respect you have to have for Michigan State's defensive line. They can slip a gap, and if you go deep and hand it off to Henry and you get penetration, the play gets blown up. It seems like the quarterback sneak would be the safest call.
The 11th play of this drive. Need about a football. Coker with big number 2 driving behind him does make the first down.
Yeah, I mean, I know Derrick Henry's a great player, but it's a big play because if you get stopped here, Michigan State gets the ball right at close to midfield. You can see the surge there led by the veteran Ryan Kelly in the middle.
Howard, the tight end, and Henry just helping the quarterback.
Yeah, and that's legal now. Henry with a nice little push from behind.
Yep.
Remember, everybody gets caught up in the Bush push, and that's illegal, but now you're allowed to do that.
Breather for Henry. It's Drake. Lined up at midfield. They fake it to him. Coker takes a downfield shot. Ridley has a step. Jump ball. Incomplete. Good coverage. Jermaine Edmondson was picked on a lot this season, Kirk. Made a nice play.
Great coverage and a perfect time to call it on 1st and 10. They get man-to-man. This is a matchup that Ridley 3 will take every time. Physical there, and then at the end of the play, a great job of identifying where the football is by the junior out of Canton, Ohio. He goes up, high points the ball, and almost comes down with the interception.
Remember that Nebraska game when they had so much trouble defending the Cornhusker passing game? Edmondson had a rough night, but he has grown and improved along with a bunch of guys in that secondary. This is Drake now. Not much. Riley Bulla, the top tackler, came flying through. It'll be 3rd and long.
It's a different gear. You know, as good as Henry is, he's a different kind of back. He runs downhill. You get the ball to Kenyon Drake because of that acceleration to the corner. Michigan State's got to be able to react. And how about Riley Bulla that time? Back-to-back plays by the Spartans defense individually. Edmondson on the play downfield, and then Bulla that time on the run by Kenyon Drake.
Both teams just 1 of 4 so far on 3rd down. Both offenses have faced 3rd and long a lot tonight. There's Shalik Calhoun, the pass rush guy. Coker gets protection, finds Drake, who spins free but does not get near the 1st down. Dropped at the 40. Demetrius Day Cox, the safety, came up to disrupt things.
And how about R.J. Williamson back? He has been out since week 5, where he had a bicep injury against Purdue. It's first time he's played since week 5. A veteran, a 5th-year guy with great knowledge, did enough there to slow down Drake to allow the rest of the Michigan State defense to be able to corral Drake before he got a 1st down.
Williamson, a leader who brings a lot of knowledge and helps the communication, but he hadn't played football in 3 months. I wondered how he'd be able to hold up tonight. So far, so good. It's a big stand by the Spartan defense, forcing a punt, which lands into the end zone. Who can break through first? It's Cook, and the Spartans back to work next. The DirecTV mobile studio has been a busy place here in Dallas this week, providing coverage of the activities leading up to tonight's game. And really compelling triple header on New Year's Day, the Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl. You might be watching this one, the Buckeyes and the Fighting Irish at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Rose Bowl presented by Northwestern Mutual. Caffrey and the Cardinal against Iowa. Then the All-State Sugar Bowl, Oklahoma State and Ole Miss.
Michigan State with their play calling on 1st and 10. They've thrown it only twice, once for a pass interference, the other time for a 14-yard gain.
And the 4th tailback to handle the ball for the Spartans already. This is Delton Williams, the junior, who makes a nice 1st down gain.
Yeah, he kept his legs moving. That's a heck of a gain. This is one of those games where you get 4 or 5 yards running the football, and you got to consider that a win. And Delton Williams showing some physicality that time, spinning off a couple would-be tacklers and picking up enough positive yards there on 1st and 10.
So the drive chart for the Spartans, 6 combined possessions, 6 punts so far. Williams now in a slot, empty backfield for Cook, who rolls and fires downfield to Shelton. Well covered. Here comes the 2nd pass interference flag of the night. This one on Minkah Fitzpatrick, who just never found the ball.
Now, Connor Cook got drilled by Reggie Ragland. I mean, drilled. And his shoulder was exposed to the contact. I mean, it's a half roll to the right. Look at the middle linebacker right there, lowers the boom. And if you see it in real time, you'll really appreciate what he dealt with there. I mean, he came in hard.
Defense, number 29, 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
Meantime, Fitzpatrick flagged to the other end of the play. Cook told us, shoulder aside, he's never worried, he said, about hits in a football game. He always must keep his eyes downfield, and standing in there in a pro-style offense is part of it.
And there's Minkah Fitzpatrick, Chris, with his head completely facing the receiver. 2nd time we've seen that. You're right. Connor Cook is a tough guy. No question about that.
Williams again, short gain. Cook weighs 220. I think he's got a strong lower body, but kind of a slightly built upper body. He does not have a sculpted physique.
Not like you or anything like that, but he's doing all right for himself. I'm just messing with you.
My point is, when a guy like Ragland hits him,
I know. I'm just messing with you. He's 6'4", 220. And the thing about Cook is he's playing 39 games. Think about that. All-time winningest quarterback in school history. As good as Alabama is, there's nothing he hasn't seen or dealt with when it comes to the pressure of this kind of football game.
You fake it to Williams. Cook stands and delivers again, and a drop. That's a drop by Burbridge, who's a terrific receiver, all Big Ten competitor, but that was right in his hands.
I keep talking about separation against press coverage. Can he do it? He does. He gets to separation. Now he just has to catch the ball. Perfect job by Burbridge. He's one of the top receivers in the country. He just couldn't hold on to it.
Cook delivers over the middle again. Catch made by Paul Lang, the senior tight end. This is 11th of the season. They're finding space in the middle.
Confused here by Alabama. There's a mix-up here with Reuben Foster. Look at the middle. There's nobody in the middle. Foster's over here. He might be confused with the alignment, but he's wide open, and Cook sees him quickly for the big game.
Kind of laps the Nick Saban and Kirby Smart just 17 yards on that 3rd and 9 play.
Put the formation with the receivers into the boundary, and it opened up the tight end to the field.
We got an offense threatening here, Kirk, for the first time tonight in plus territory. Cook harassed immediately and just has to heave the ball to the sidelines. Eddie Jackson came on a safety blitz, and now a flag. They'll talk about whether this is grounding.
I think they also had procedure there. Lang was a little confused on his alignment at the tight end spot, which impacted Burbridge. Illegal shift there.
There is no foul on the play for intentional grounding. There was a receiver in the area. However, illegal shift on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That's a liberal interpretation of the area. I didn't see any receiver near the Alabama bench where that ball was thrown in there. Here's the hit again.
He knew, right? Look at Jackson right here coming on the blitz. Nobody there. He just aborts Jackson on the safety blitz. The play before, Alabama was confused, and it cost him. This time, it's the Michigan State offense with a blunder, with a clean hit on Connor Cook.
Empty backfield on 1st and 15. Williams moving to the slot. Cook fires incomplete. It was off the hands of McGarrett Kings. Fitzpatrick and Humphrey were covering closely.
Well, Humphrey, 26 on one side, will be playing man-to-man all night. And you have Jones on the other side. Humphrey, 26, is much more physical because of his size. He's 6'1", about 195 pounds. He's a freshman, but because of his physicality, it makes it very tough to be able to get separation.
And as tough as it is to make plays in this defense, Cook thinking, come on, guys, give me a little help. That's a drop from Burbridge and now from Kings already. Cook fires in, no chance, over the head of Josiah Price. It'll be 3rd and 15. So a promising drive, then the penalty, and now Cook is backed up. And that's why we don't see a lot of first downs in this game, because against these two defenses, 3rd and 9 ain't going to work very often.
And you'll see Alabama, they'll show pressure. Now they pressure 17% of the time. They like to show pressure and then drop, and they'll rush 3 or 4 and count on that defensive line to be able to get the pressure on the quarterback.
Cook fires way over the head of R.J. Shelton.
That's exactly what they did. They show pressure. They only rush 3. And now you're talking about having 8 guys in coverage. And as good as Connor Cook is with his accuracy and his anticipation, makes it very, very hard to be able to find somebody open with 8 guys in coverage.
So the mental mistake with the Tide defense, but then they knuckle down, helped by that illegal shift penalty on 1st down. And another punt as Hartbarger tries to pin the Tide deep again. Drops the point, kicks the backspin, and doesn't get the roll he was hoping for. A touchback. 8:14 to play until halftime. Scoreless in Arlington.
The Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, brought to you by Allstate, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? Taco Bell's Crunch Wrap Sliders, 4 full-size flavors, just $1 each. At Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
And we appreciate Goodyear providing our aerial coverage once again. Kick off your drive with tires that return superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Not much driving by the offenses tonight, but a game that Tom Izzo would appreciate. The Spartan football team in the Final Four here. He's taken the basketball team to the Final Four 7 times, including last year, won national championship. Great friend and almost a neighbor of Mark D'Antonio in East Lansing.
Yeah, and just a big football fan.
Yeah.
You know, Nick Saban talked about when he coached in East Lansing how much Tom Izzo, how big a football fan he was. There's the whole team.
Spartan basketball team lost for the first time this week at Iowa, and he flew them all down here despite the loss. So it's Drake, not Henry, in the game, and Coker looking to throw on first down. Richard Mullaney, the graduate transfer from Oregon State, with a first down catch to the 35.
Well, nice job with the linebackers here. Watch how the linebackers, Reschke and Bulla, watch how they split. It opens up right in the middle. The patience there by Coker is amazing, but the offensive line doing a nice job of giving him time. He needed every second there before McDowell lowered the boom, but a good route, well designed, opened up right over the middle.
Spartan fans glad to see McDowell back in there. Their trainers were looking at him in the last defensive series. Now Henry dropped for a loss, and that was Malik McDowell, the sophomore from Detroit, the 5-star recruit, flying in.
And Chris, you really have to appreciate he's going against Ryan Kelly, a senior, one of the best centers in the country. Watch how he works to get to this gap. He has to deal with the center. He works with him, uses his hands, gets off of it, and tackles the Heisman Trophy winner.
13th tackle for loss. A great sophomore season by McDowell. He's going to be draft eligible next year and a very highly rated prospect. Coker to Stewart. Again on the edge. He's knocked out of bounds. Colhoun did a good job holding his ground, and it'll be 3rd and long yet again.
You know, Ridley right now with three receptions, most of them to the outside. Stewart with 4 receptions. A lot of receptions and a lot of attacking to the perimeter, but Michigan State doing a good job of forcing them into these 3rd downs yet again.
Yeah, his completions have averaged 6.5 yards. Nothing downfield yet for the Tide. Spartans bring pressure. Coker delivers complete once again. A catch made by Stewart, and it was knocked out of bounds near midfield by Nicholson.
You know, it's 3rd down and long. You've been giving Coker fits. You press, or you bring the blitz, but look at the cushion. Makes it so easy for Coker to anticipate and get the ball out to Stewart. Very surprised that Colhoun was not tighter with the cover, with the blitz from Michigan State. It made it easy for Coker to recognize it, put the ball out there to Stewart, and it's a 1st down.
Almost like they're wary of that downfield shot you keep anticipating. Play action on 1st down. Coker will take a shot. Ridley holds it in. We waited, we wondered.
It's coming.
For the first home run shot. Not quite a home run, but he stopped at the 1.
And they don't reroute him. A little inside move, and he gets one-on-one matchup against Demetrius Cox. It's exactly what they wanted.
What they do is they play fast after a big play. The Spartans were still running guys off of the field as Henry took the handoff. They don't use tempo very often, but they often do after a big play.
Yeah, they try to catch him off guard. Michigan State ready for it. But how about the throw by Jake Coker? He puts it right on the money to Ridley. Really trying to get that ball across, but he's definitely short.
Substitution defense, more than 11 players on the field at the snap. The offense did not substitute. Half the distance to the goal, replay 1st down.
You can almost expect Bama's going to do that after a big play, and the Spartans tried to get the short yardage guys in there, but couldn't do it.
Yep, smart for Alabama without substituting. They're able to go as fast as they want. Michigan State not able to substitute, and they catch them with more than 11 on the field.
A 50-yard play to Ridley, moves the ball inside the 1. 3 in the backfield. Henry, that's easy. Pure muscle, and Alabama strikes first.
Chris, it's a package that Alabama fans got to love. Look at the big defensive tackles. How'd you like to follow that? And you got the Heisman Trophy winner, A'Shawn Robinson, Jaron Reed leading the way. And they opened it up very nicely there for Derrick Henry. That's a lot of girth coming at that Michigan State defense.
Those are a lot of big, nasty guys who had to enjoy the chance to deliver a downhill block like that. We sucked up the leadership of this team, those defensive linemen. play a part in the first touchdown of this game. And Derrick Henry, his 24th rushing TD of the season. That is a new SEC record, all his own now.
Let's go back to that long throw. You have Ridley right here, who's one of the better receivers, and it does a great job of getting matched up against Demetrius Cox. Because he was not rerouted, the linebacker was walked out there, Darian Harris, did not get his hands to slow him down. So you have him running downhill and a safety. That's the weakness and concern for the quarters coverage that Michigan State plays, is getting a receiver like Ridley matched up on a safety.
Griffith's kick goes out of bounds, so Michigan State will take over at the 35. That play covered 50 of the 80 yards in that drive, and Coker 4 for 4 on the drive.
Yeah, he was in command. When he throws on early downs, play action pass.
Michigan State is elected to take the ball at the 35-yard line, first down.
That's where he feels, I think, most confident. You got Derrick Henry, the concern of the running game. You put the play action look in there. He's in rhythm, and he's able to make great throws like he just did there to Ridley.
Can Cook and the Spartans answer now?
Hi, I'm Sage Steele here in New York City, Times Square, where everyone is talking about college football. Yes, including Ryan Seacrest, who will join me coming up at halftime.
Thank you, Sage. Here's the countdown clock. On an evening known for the ball dropping. It's been too much of that for the Spartan receivers. A couple of drops. You know, Shelton, Burbridge, Kings, their top 3 receivers have been shut out so far by this Tide defense. LJ Scott, freshman late season workhorse, is the back now. Takes the handoff from Connor Cook, who himself has certainly been hit a lot. Kirk, he's 4 for 10, but he's been taking some punishment.
He has, and that was a big question coming in, how the right shoulder would hurry up. And it's not so much the sacks. He has 1 sack, and he knew coming in, Chris. We talked to him a couple days ago about, are you ready to be hit? Because you're going to be hit a lot. And he said he was. And so far, he's stood strong, but he needs help. Not only is he not getting the ball to his favorite targets, Michigan State right now, they've only run the football for 3 yards. It's a bad combination when your go-to receivers aren't making plays and you're not running the ball.
From the pocket, delivers into traffic, and again over the head of Shelton, who's been targeted frequently, but no catches yet.
Now that is a tight window. Connor Cook has such confidence in his ability to make the right read and get the ball to his receiver. That ball overthrown, but with the coverage there by Fitzpatrick, he was fortunate the ball wasn't tipped and possibly intercepted.
Once again, Spartans facing 3rd and long. Tide showing pressure, and they do bring 5 rushers. Cook, flushed, hit, dropped. Ryan Anderson, the linebacker, got him.
And I don't know how he held on to that. Ryan Anderson comes from the right of the offense. He's over here. He does a good job, but I think it's the blitz pressure that time from Reuben Foster in the middle that occupied the interior of the offensive line for Michigan State, and it freed off Anderson off the edge. You hear so much about some of these other defensive linemen, but it's the depth. Guys like Ryan Anderson and Tim Williams that get pressure, especially on 3rd down. And I tell you, Connor Cook lucky to hold on to that ball.
Yeah, he had to shift the ball, didn't he, at the last second to the left hand to avoid the fumble. Hartbarger boots it. Cyrus Jones from the 20 gets an initial block, bounces off a man, and dances down across the 26-yard line. Oh, we knew this would be a very different game stylistically. Clemson, so impressive. Trailed at halftime, but a 21-zip edge over the Sooners, so they await the winner of this slugfest a week from Monday.
What a different game and a different feel, where the offense is in that game and the quarterbacks in that game going back and forth. And Deshaun Watson and Clemson, give them all the credit in the world, finding a way to win that football game. And you heard Dabo Swinney afterwards. Nobody believes in us. Nobody does except for us. And that's what makes this so special. And he's right. This football team is on a mission, and the winner of this game is going to have their hands full against that Clemson Tiger football team.
Yeah, we got Salty Dabo again after that game, but what a tremendous job he and his staff have done. Tide trying to add to the lead here. 4 minutes to halftime, and Coker feeling good about himself finds O.J. Howard in the veteran tight end, his first catch out across the 40, and a flag where Coker was hit by McDowell after he got rid of it.
And McDowell came in high on Jake Coker, who's shown a tremendous amount of toughness this year when he won the quarterback job back against Ole Miss. I think that's, Nick Saban's mentioned this, that's where he won the team over, is some of his scrambles and the grit and determination that he's played with, and he shows it again there.
There is no foul on the play for roughing the passer. Contact was to the chest.
So the flag is picked up, but the gain moves the ball across the 40.
And let's see if the initial contact is up high. They felt that initially it was a penalty, but then went back and talked as a group, which you love to see, and they felt it was in the chest area, and then he slid up into the face mask. And it's always great when the crew gets together and talks about it. Sometimes they have different perspective and a different view.
Big 12 crew here tonight. The Tide did not approve of that call. Now some movement.
False start.
And Derrick Henry.
Offense, number 2. 5-yard penalty, first down.
He was on his tippy toes trying not to lose his balance. Michigan State looked like they were trying to mix in some pressure. You know, with that injury to Hicks, he's been so instrumental in the talk about Michigan State improving their last 4 games. He is out of the lineup, so Colhoun on one side and Jermaine Edmondson on the other. And as much man-to-man as they play, Alabama will continue to challenge and go after that.
Henry, first and 15, tries to cut it back. Coker throws a block. Henry is just tracked down at the 40. Colhoun just grabbed him by the shoe, or it would have been a huge gain.
It's a great example of his vision. I don't know if enough people really appreciate the way he, as a big guy, has an ability to get off of a play and then abort and come all the way back the other way. Michigan State very fortunate that Colhoun somehow is able to make that tackle, because if he doesn't, it's without a doubt a first down and more yards after that. But good effort by Colhoun there to stay home and catch up to Henry to bring him down.
And a no carry yet. Has Henry really been able to get that big body rolling, get up ahead of steam? Got to hurry here. 3 in the play clock, and Coker will take a timeout. They'll spend the first of their 3 here as the Tide try to add to their lead before halftime. It's your Taco Bell student section. Taco Bell and the College Football Playoff provided 1,000 student tickets tonight, free, so that students could come down to Arlington and cheer on their teams, whether they're Spartans or Crimson Tide. Ticket to the Natty, as Dabo Sweeney called it, against his Clemson Tigers, January 11th in Glendale. At stake here, and the Tide with a touchdown set up by the long pass to Ridley on their last possession. Kirk getting the ball to begin the second half. This feels like an important moment for this Spartan defense to make a stand. Prevent this lead from getting any bigger with the way their offense has struggled. Coker and a flag before the snap again.
Yeah, the left tackle that time, Cam Robinson, getting back in his stance. That'll cost Alabama 5 more yards.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, second down.
You're right about the timing of this drive. Starting to get close to getting to near the end of this first half, and Michigan State's offense with only 61 yards in the first half. With the way this game feels and Alabama getting the ball, you're exactly right. This is a big, big possession.
We've seen Saban and Lane Kiffin often get very aggressive near the end of the first half. He's a big believer in that games can be won and lost late in the half. Coker, downfield shot. Howard is wide open, makes the catch, running free inside the 25. Colhoun drove him out. Howard told me, Kirk, I just have to wait and be patient and then make my chances count.
And he gets matched up against the corner who actually hesitated. You can see him, he gets in the way there of Reschke, and because he gets behind a couple steps, it makes it easy for Howard to outrun him, and a good throw by Coker.
And again, tempo after the big play as Coker fires far side, but flying into knocked down Stewart was Jermaine Edmondson.
You go back to that play, you could see this ball, this is what Coker does the best, is when he's able to get back, one hitch, put the ball up in the air to his receivers downfield. That's why I came into this game. It wasn't so much Henry, about defending Henry for Michigan State. My concern was, could Michigan State, who plays so much man-to-man, match up against the tight end Howard and this group of wide receivers and avoid giving up the big play?
It's Drake in the backfield. They fake it to him. Coker has to escape pressure off the edge and now just fire it into the bench. You know, Howard is such a talented guy. Todd McShay has him rated one of the top tight ends in the country. He says he has to avoid pouting because he doesn't see the ball, all that much. That was just his 31st catch this season.
Yeah, and I mean, Ridley has caught majority of the balls as this season has progressed, and Stewart has also done a nice job of coming up with some big plays. But Chris, it's not about keeping O.J. Howard happy. This offense has found an identity, and it's Derrick Henry, and it's play action pass and playing great defense.
Oh, he knows that. He's a great blocker, so he contributes to that run
Absolutely,
game.
He does contribute to it, and I get that. It gets a little bit frustrating, but it sure is working.
Oh, Coker bobbles the snap. The play is all messed up, running for his life, and just fires it to Drake, who should have dropped the ball. He makes the catch, but it's a loss on the far side.
Yeah, but every yard matters when you're trying to get a field goal, and he's better off throwing that football away instead of throwing it there to Drake,
who instinctively is going to make the catch.
Yeah, I mean,
but it is a loss
because it was a perfect snap, goes right through his hands. Luckily, his face mask was in the way, or that ball would have gone right by him. They brought pressure again. Michigan State did with Bulla on the blitz.
It backs up Adam Griffith, who's had a terrific season since he got off to a rough start. He missed 2 field goals here in the opener against Wisconsin, missed his first 4, but he's come on strong. 21 of 29 for the season. This from 47 for a 10-point lead. And he knocks it through. For the kicker, born in Poland, adopted by parents in Georgia, makes it a 10-point lead with 1:25 before halftime. So celebrating the 11th season, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to university's general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, millions have been contributed by Allstate.
Connor Cook, 4 of 11 for only 62 yards. But I'll say this, they're down 10. Alabama gets the ball to start the second half because of the experience of Cook and the confidence the coaches have in him. Sometimes when a quarterback and an offense, they're just struggling to find anything that works. Sometimes by getting into a 2-minute offense and you're not thinking as much, you can get the defense on its heels a little bit. Connor Cook is like a coach out there. He's like an offensive coordinator. So Michigan State needs to be aggressive here, put the ball into the hands of Connor Cook, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him find a rhythm here.
Kirk sacked a couple of times. They have -1 net rushing yards. But even if you take out the sacks, the 10 runs, total 10 yards against the Tide so far. Ouch.
Welcome to the Alabama front 7.
Cannot be a comfortable feeling for Cook, knowing they are basically one-dimensional at this point. Well, we talked about Capital One Bowl Mania continuing tomorrow, 11 o'clock at ESPN2. The Wildcats of Northwestern take on Tennessee in the Outback Bowl. So Big Ten versus SEC, 1 o'clock over on ABC. Another Big Ten SEC collision, the Wolverines and the Florida Gators, the Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl, also streaming live on the Watch app. That's an intriguing matchup, Wolverines and the Gators.
Yeah, it's anytime you get a chance to see these big conferences compete against each other, you always have bragging rights on the line.
This might be high scoring compared to what we're going to see in that game, right?
Right. Let's see if Connor Cook gets aggressive here and see if his receivers can get open and try to get off this coverage, this tight coverage from Alabama.
We got 3 timeouts and 1:25 to work with. Gerald Holmes stays in to block the blitz, and it's a low throw. They finally moved the chains. That's a catch by Burbridge, his first.
Yeah, one of the rare times that Burbridge and Cook in sync. And as I said, now you get aggressive here. You get this defense, try to get this defense on its heels.
Spartans do employ tempo. Cook in the pocket, flips it short. Holmes cannot escape Reggie Ragland, a short game.
Yeah, Michigan State has 3 timeouts. They'll use 1 here. They're thinking at the very least they want to give Michael Geiger a chance the junior a chance to at least have a shot at a field goal.
Well, John Saunders, Mark May, Mac Brown perched in their set. I can see him over there on the concourse level. The Buick halftime report is coming up. We'll recap Clemson's emphatic win in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Houston, a nice win on the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl over the Seminoles earlier today. And of course, they'll break down first half here and look ahead to what this group right here is going to have to do to try to solve a very stout defense.
Be nice to be able to, again, trying to get Connor Cook into a rhythm is tough to do against this Alabama defense. Remember, they apply pressure. They keep 2 safeties high, which makes it tough to get the ball thrown downfield. Then they've got 5 guys underneath, which makes the windows, the passing lanes, just tough for Connor Cook and his receivers. The timing and anticipation has to be perfect for Connor Cook.
Cook on 2nd and 7, steps up, delivers another strike across the middle to Shelton, and they'll move the chains into Alabama territory inside of a minute now.
Nice job working back into the middle again. We saw a throw earlier to Burbridge. This time Shelton working to get into the middle.
Cook again. Tight coverage over there. Tried to get it to Price, but Ronnie Harrison, the true freshman, was there.
Yeah, you go back and look at the pressure. Robinson
off the pinky,
so close to knocking that ball. I thought it had a little bit of a, after the throw, it looked a little bit odd, but he had enough on it to give Shelton a chance. By the way, Robinson, the last 2 plays, they're not blitzing, they're rushing 4. Robinson, the last 2, he's been right in the face of Connor Cook. You also have Tim Williams in, who will be off to the offense is left.
Robinson, a hometown guy, played his high school football just up the road in Fort Worth. Cook, as the pocket collapses, he goes down again. And that time, Jonathan Allen, for the 2nd time tonight, knocks down the quarterback.
Because of the way they can get after you on the outside, they match up. They get one-on-one matchups on the inside. Allen is right to the right side there. He's able to push through. You talk about making sure you're on the same page. You cannot take one wrong step because it's not just one guy you're trying to keep out. It's 4. All 4 of them are in a race to get to Connor Cook.
That is a bull rush. Old Cody Keeler, the tackle, had his helmet knocked off in the fray down there. And that Alabama front 7, best around.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And the scouting report coming into this is how could Michigan State hold up? And there's A'Shawn Robinson earlier in this game taking on a couple blocks and forcing Scott to the outside where the rest of the defense is able to help out. Big Jaron Reed in the middle as well. Just too much to handle. It's not just the size. At 313 pounds, all these guys have made an effort in the offseason to drop about 15 to 20 pounds. You know, the days of big Terrence Cody playing in Alabama are over. You go and watch these guys and you see them in person. They're 313 pounds, but their stomachs are flat and they move quick. So it's a combination of power and quickness.
And the intangibles that they bring, we've both been impressed by the leadership of these guys. They basically run the team, don't they? The defensive line.
Without a doubt.
In terms of the players.
Yep.
3rd and 18 for Cook. Fires complete to Kings, who makes the catch, takes a hit at the 30-yard line. Clutch with 35 seconds left.
That is a big 3rd down throw and a great job of anticipating. That's where the relationship and experience between Cook and Kings comes in. That time he threw that well before Kings had turned around.
If the Spartans can get back in this game, remember that play. They still have the 1 timeout. Cook fires far side into coverage and a leaping catch by Burbridge over Jones at the 12.
You know, you want to get to the national championship, your best players have got to make plays. And that's what's happening for the first time all night for this Michigan State offense.
And now they got the big Alabama bodies breathing heavily from the 12. Cook takes a shot, picked off. Jones along the sidelines. And Cook with a crucial mistake as the time pick him off for the first time with 6 seconds before halftime.
Burbridge makes a big play the play before. Chris, that is textbook by Cyrus Jones. Anticipating, looking back over his shoulder. Watch his technique at the top. Watch how he's anticipating and waiting for it, and he goes up and makes the play. Connor Cook telegraphs the throw. He completely stares down his wide receiver, which allowed Jones to be able to be ready to go up and make the play and take the ball away from Burbridge.
Cook is normally very smart in the red zone. That's only his, you see Kirby smart. That's just his second red zone pick this year.
They had, at the very least, they had a chance at a field goal, and possibly a touchdown.
Henry on the final play of the half. He's been limited in this first half. It's been Coker looking sharp, the big play to Ridley to set up the long touchdown, and a smothering Alabama defense as they'll get the football to begin the second half with a double-digit lead. Let's go to Tom Rinaldi with Coach Saban.
Chris, thank you very much. I know how much you hate to give up points toward the end of a half. How do you continue this defensive performance, and how important was the stop, Nick?
Well, we didn't play really well in the 2-minute there. You know, we turned some guys loose and didn't cover like we need to, but it was big to get an interception to keep them off the board. We got to finish some drives on offense, and, you know, we're hurting ourselves with penalties and stopping ourselves too much.
Good luck in the second half. All right, let's go over to Heather with Coach D.
Thank you so much, Coach. Your team is known for finding a way to finish. What do you need to do to make that happen in the second half?
Yeah, we got a chance for points down here at the end, you know, and sort of gave it up. And but you know, we got to run the ball more effectively. I think, you know, we played pretty well defensively. Gave up the 2 big passes, and that's resulted in points. But you know, got to keep playing. Got to come up with some turnovers, and things got to go our way a little bit. But got to find a way to run the ball and balance it up.
Coach, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you. Chris, back up to you.
Heather, thank you. That was a 63-yard drive that comes up empty with the Jones pick, and as Tonio said, that really stings. Alabama up 10 at halftime here in Arlington. They're -9 net rushing yards in the first half for the Spartans.
And one of the things we can't overlook is the performance of Jake Coker, a guy who's been through so much this year, named captain by his teammates after the SEC championship game against the Gators. Probably the greatest honor he's received in his life. He's played well in this first half.
Cronin's kick goes through the end zone. You know, you heard Tom say pregame that Coker's performance early would dictate how Lane Kiffin would call this game. He had to be reassured, Kirk, because Coker was sharp, 16 of 20, 177 yards. The one big play to Ridley, 50 yards to set up the touchdown run.
And if we were to break down his passes, there would be a lot of passes that were, you know, 5 yards or less downfield. But what that did, which we knew was coming, is it opened up opportunities down the field. The throw to Ridley, we saw the throw to Howard, and that's what I think you're going to see more of from Lane Kiffin and Jake Coker here. It's the work Derrick Henry in, but you're going to see them eventually take shots downfield and try to continue to try to hit big plays. They want to finish, and part of finishing is still putting the foot on the accelerator and attacking this Michigan State defense.
Derrick held 4 yards per carry below his season average, just 2.9 per carry on his 13 attempts, but he did go over 2,000 yards for the season. And now Coker thought about finding Drake on first down, delivers instead to Mulaney, who is wide open, slips a tackle, and moves into Michigan State territory. The outlet receiver comes up big.
That's a great job by Coker with his vision. A little pump fake right there, gets the linebacker out of position. And the man-to-man coverage, they completely lose Mulaney, who is left alone. And a good job by Coker recognizing it and getting the ball.
26 yards, second catch for Mulaney. And the Tide quickly trying to add to their lead. Henry, not much, and a nice job by Lawrence Thomas off the edge to knock the big man down for a yard loss.
Yeah, nice job by the inside of that defense as well. Thomas cleaned it up, but it was the interior that held their point. Also, Riley Bulla getting involved there, and then the big fella Thomas coming off the edge, over 305 pounds.
You know, Alabama has a way, Kirk, with that defense of making a 10-point lead feel pretty big, and if they add to it here.
If you're Michigan State, you're thinking worst case a field goal. You'd love to get them off the field, but a field goal is all they really can afford at this point.
Stewart takes a little pop pass from Coker, makes a man miss and gets knocked down at the 45.
A slow night for Derrick Henry. You knew it'd be tough against this Michigan State defense. Tonight he's had it 14 times. Remember, he's had it, 90 times in their last 2 games between Auburn and Florida. Here's a third down opportunity for Michigan State.
Henry motions out. Coker has plenty of time. A flag comes down, incomplete. Darian Harris was covering Stewart. A couple of flags on the field. Two separate fouls may have been spotted. One's in the holding zone, then one was out near where Harris was covering the receiver.
I think these will be offsetting. You had holding on the offensive line and pass interference by the defense.
There are 2 fouls, both on the defense. Holding, defense, number
holding up
45,
front.
that penalty's declined. Personal foul, hands to the face, defense, number 93. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic, first down.
Nose tackle, Damon Knox guilty of the personal foul.
I thought Taylor right here, the right guard, and Knox right here, I thought it might be a hold, but watch his hands, Knox's hands get up right there. The umpire right on top of it. He was actually behind Knox, somehow was able to be able to see that, but thought there might be a hold, but instead it goes against Michigan State.
Yeah, it's the first major penalty on the Spartans, and it stings. It moves the ball to the 30. Gives the Tide a first down, of course.
Eventually Drake's going to get matched up against a linebacker, run a wheel route, could be wide open down the sideline.
Coker was surprised by the snap, backpedaling, delivers a strike to Ridley as Calhoun closed in on him. That was a nice throw.
Sure was, and he was actually looking to get the ball thrown down the middle. He comes off of Drake and gets the ball thrown back. And how about Ridley working to get back to give his quarterback a chance to be able to convert there?
He got 6. Drake to the right of Coker. Takes the handoff, but is knocked down immediately. Greg Evans made his presence felt. Big 318-pounder.
Michigan State, a lot like Alabama, rotating a lot of people inside, not just Thomas, McDowell, Heath, and Calhoun, but we're seeing Craig Evans, Damon Knox, Evan Jones, Demetrius Cooper. They rotate 8 people up front to try to stay fresh.
Spartan defense asking for some crowd noise here. Another third down. Tide need 4. And Coke hoping when he gets the ball back, the deficit won't be a lot bigger. Fake it to Henry. Coker bootleg. Howard, another catch, driven out. First down, Alabama at the 18.
He's lined up as an H-back. They go play action this way. Here's Howard, who slips out into the flat and gets lost from the linebackers in coverage. All the action goes to the left. He boots because of the athletic ability to get outside in case there's pressure. The confidence right now that Jake Coker is playing with, Chris, very, very impressive.
You said his journey has been a long one, a difficult one, a challenging one to get to this season. He said he's living a dream now, quarterbacking Alabama to a SEC championship, perhaps bigger things. And Coker keeps it. Flag comes down as he is driven down hard by Lawrence Thomas. Coker's big brother Patrick, an Air Force captain stationed in Turkey, drives A-10 Warthogs into the Middle East, into harm's way, and a couple of different brothers that the family could be proud of. I think Patrick, the idol of Jake.
Hands to the face, defense number 4. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run, automatic first down.
A second costly personal foul against the Spartans on this drive.
Right over Ryan Kelly, the center. See it right here. McDowell with his left hand gets up into the face of Kelly. Second time in a row. It's right side of your screen here. Look at that hand up into the face of Kelly. Another good call. The umpire, second time we've seen that in the last few plays.
Very similar penalty, and it's moved the ball inside the 10. First and goal. Big Henry diving to the 5. Jay Coker's parents from Mobile. Again, we send our salute to Jake's brother Patrick, the Air Force captain. Hopefully able to watch this game. Was able to get home and watch one Alabama game in person just before he had to go back and get redeployed.
Must be really cool to have a chance to watch your brother play in a semifinal game after everything that he's been through.
No doubt. Coker. End zone. Ridley. Jump ball. Incomplete. Edmondson was battling him and made the play.
You know, for a guy that wasn't expected to play a lot tonight, with the injury to Darian Hicks, Edmondson is out there playing, and he is working hard on an island. Last second, gets his hands up, recognizes the football, and because of that effort there, and the crowd's reacting, but Ridley did not have complete possession of the ball while he was inbounds. He's still battling for the ball. And then Ridley may take a peek at this. He ends up catching it. Is the ball moving is the one question.
Here's a pylon cam look at it. He definitely does catch the ball, but does he have possession when he steps out right there? Let's bring in Dave Kataya, our rules expert. Dave, how did you see this one ruled incomplete on the field?
Well, based on these two shots, the ball was moving, and it looks like that play's going to stand as called. I don't see enough there to change it to a possessed pass. Take a look at it here. You can see, as Kirk said, it's still moving. Both players are moving the ball. All right, right now, it looks like it's going to stand because of that ball moving.
What a great catch by Ridley. Whether or not it stands, I mean, you talk about hand strength.
Great effort by both Edmondson and also Ridley in the focus, as you said. And I don't think his heel is out of bounds. So if they end up saying that the ball, in fact, did not keep moving, both his steps are in bounds. That step and that step.
Doesn't have it yet. Does he have it there? That's the question.
Yeah, both his feet, Dave, are in bounds there. I thought the heel might have come down out of bounds, but it's in bounds. Watch this. This is a great view.
No question, both feet are in bounds. That's not the issue. The issue is, does he possess the ball before he crosses the sideline? It looks like he does, but again, we've got to be 100% before they're going to reverse the call on the field.
Right.
Just at the last second, the ball seemed to be sliding up the jersey of Ridley. He certainly thinks he made the catch. Fans are getting repeated tremendous looks at this on the giant screen above us. Ridley, of course, who made the 50-yard play to set up Henry's short touchdown run.
You know, with this offense changing their approach.
Mike DeFee.
After further review, the receiver got his right foot down in the end zone with possession. Touchdown.
What a play by Calvin Ridley, the freshman, as the call on the field is overturned and the Tide have stretched their lead.
Yeah, and I think, Dave, you know, that's a call you and I and every person watching this, you might get it. Half the people say that the ball was moving. The other half might say that it was not. Both his feet ended up being in bounds, and they must have felt that the ball was secured as he stepped on that second step and eventually out of bounds. But it's a touchdown, and now Michigan State down 17.
Griffith with the conversion. The Tide take the second half kickoff. March 75 yards in 9 plays. Coker to Ridley for the touchdown, and the Coker family says yes. We're getting a little closer to the championship game. The National Championship Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper, raised by the Buckeyes on this field with all the confetti falling a year ago. We'll head out to Glendale, Arizona, a week from Monday, January 11th, where Clemson will take on the winner here. Right to lift that trophy for the 2015 season. 2 personal fouls on that drive, aiding Alabama's cause. Coker to Ridley on the reversal, and Jake continues to have a spectacular night. 21 of 25, 224. AT&T's strongest of the strong certainly applies to the Alabama defensive front in the run stopping going back the last 8 quarters. So the second half of the Iron Bowl SEC championship game, first half tonight, a grand total of 7 rushing yards allowed.
Well, we knew it'd be very, very tough. Michigan State felt confident that they could match up with Alabama in the trenches, but so far -9 yards rushing for Michigan State. And now down 17, you're in predictable play calling for Connor Cook. It gets that much more challenging for them to execute and try to be able to come up with yardage and try to get first downs.
See how Kirby Smart again had about 15 guys on the field there waiting to see the personnel. They run 4 guys off. It's Mondre London, the tailback behind Cook, and they give it to him. The middle is just clogged once again. As you've often said this season, that's just not open for business tonight, the interior run game.
No, not at all. They try to bounce it with the counter play and try to get the ball to the edge. They pick up a couple yards, but as I said, Chris, and right now it's still early. You get 10-15 to go here in the third quarter. They're not going to just throw the ball every play. They're doing enough to make Alabama have to respect that they potentially going to run the ball. But we all know that Connor Cook and his receivers, we knew when the game started, his receivers and Connor Cook would have to make plays.
You fake it to London. Cook escapes the pressure by rolling out, and now will scoot out of bounds after a short gain knocked down on the Alabama bench. It'll be 3rd and long yet again.
Alabama, one of the top defenses in the country at getting pressure on quarterbacks. In fact, lead the nation with 46 sacks, one of the best on 3rd down. Tonight's been tough for Michigan State, 3 of 8 on 3rd down.
A couple of sacks already for big Jonathan Allen, number 93. You can feel the urgency. White and green on 3rd and 6. Cook has protection, but the ball's batted up in the air. Caught by a Spartan. It's McGarrett Kings off the carom. Allen knocked the ball down. The catch made short of the 1st down, however.
You're actually going to see Aaron Burbridge work right here, right there. If he sees him right there, it's a 1st down and maybe more yards after the catch. Instead, he's not able to locate Burbridge. He ends up coming over to the outside. And, of course, Alabama ends up deflecting it. But Aaron Burbridge working away from his defender. That time, Connor Cook just not able to find the open receiver.
And Allen, the all-defensive SEC player, with a couple of sacks and pass broken up. And the Spartans go 3 and out for the 3rd time. The puff is muffed by Jones, who had the pick at the end of the half. And now he's holding his leg as he rolls out of bounds, hops up. Tied up 17 here at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. A spectacular $1 billion palace. Good view from the Goodyear blimp. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Tide drove 75 yards to the end zone to pad the lead the last possession. Coker and company back to work on the 27, and you wonder if you begin to see a more typical second half steady diet of the Heisman Trophy winner right now.
That's what I said. You know, I think now you'll see Derrick Henry. Let's mark this. He's at 39 yards with 8:34 remaining in the 3rd quarter. I think they'll still be aggressive with Coker, but I think you're going to see a lot more of Henry trying to wear down Michigan State.
Running left. The wall of blockers. Hurdles a man, dives across the 40 before Cox could stop him. That's Henry's best run of the ball game.
Watch the left tackle here, Cam Robinson. Just follow him. Look how he gets outside as a big man. He's taking the Michigan State linebacker, Darian Harris, for a ride. And we've seen Robinson get out in front on pass plays. Ryan Kelly with a nice block. But a great job by Cam Robinson. He was 15, 20 yards downfield, pushing the veteran Darian Harris.
A rare dude who can start as a true freshman in the SEC at left tackle, huh? He's a sophomore this year. Henry, that time, a short gain. It's not like the Alabama offensive line has had their way at all with this defensive front.
Not up to this point. No, not at all. I mean, it's running the ball obviously has been tough. I mean, only 54 yards rushing as a team. It's been holding up against Coker, who has really found a great rhythm.
He's been sacked just once, but he's gotten it out quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing. Lane Kiffin's put him in a position to have success.
This time they move the pocket. Coker wanted a downfield shot. Escapes a tackle of Bulla, but dropped for a short loss. Talked about the Alabama offensive line. They won the Joe Moore Award, the inaugural award named for the great offensive line coach as a group. They're very proud of that. The trophy weighs about 350 pounds, so only a lineman can nudge it.
And 3 new starters there at the left guard, the right guard, and the right tackle. This offense had to completely retool itself. You lose Blake Sims, you lose TJ Yeldon, you lose Amari Cooper. 3 new offensive linemen.
Spartans need to get off the field here. Tide need 11 on 3rd down. Grid protection. Coker delivers a strike again. It's Mullaney, who came here from Oregon State, picked up this pro-style offense very quickly, and has been a big contributor tonight.
How about Coker here? Just sits in that pocket, does a good job here of giving Mullaney a chance, who adjusts back to the football, knows exactly where he needs to go. But that ball was thrown right between the two safeties that time.
Henry. Flag comes down as Henry muscles for about 13 before he's driven out. Marker was very early in the play. And it's Alphonse Taylor, the guard. They've been a chop block.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Personal foul. Chop block. Offense. Number 76 and number 50. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Taylor and Jackson on the right side. See him right here. Combination. One guy goes high, one guy goes low. And that's a rule that's put in to protect the defensive linemen and their knees.
That's a crucial penalty because the Tide were rolling. That would have been a first down near the 35 of Michigan State. All the momentum. Instead, the ball's back up to the 35 of Alabama. Cost them about 30 yards. 15 of the last 16 for Coker, who is seizing the big stage tonight. And 1st and 25. Spins free. Shows the strength. Fires it to the bench. There was no one in the vicinity.
And it didn't get crossed to line of scrimmage. He was outside of the tackle box, but that ball was 2 or 3 yards short of the line of scrimmage.
Here comes the huddle. I think
they're going to talk.
See a flag.
Yeah, they're talking, and eventually he'll pull the flag out. Maybe not.
There is no foul in the play for intentional grounding. The quarterback was outside the pocket. The ball got past the line of scrimmage. 2nd down.
Okay. I thought it looked like it was a yard or two short.
D'Antonio agrees. Darian Harris was pressuring the quarterback, and Coker shows his escapability. He says, I was never called unathletic until I got here, and he really kind of chafes at the label.
The line of scrimmage there was the 35.5, and it went out of bounds at about the 33.
So they missed that one. Still 2nd and 25. Coker chased again, flips it to Henry on a screen, who could not keep his balance and steps out of bounds for a loss, and the Tide are going the wrong way.
And go back to that last play. As I said, the ball's at about the 35.5. Ball, there's the 30. Ball goes out of bounds at about the 33, 34-yard line. I don't know. The line judge is standing at the line of scrimmage, and the ball went to his left. The ball went to his left. He's right at the line of scrimmage.
Nevertheless, it is 3rd and 31. See if they check it deep or just call a safe play. Yeah. Feed Mr. Henry, who gets up ahead of his team, but it'll be dropped down at the 42, and Alabama will have to punt. Riley Bulla, they haven't called his name much, didn't make the tackle that time.
Yeah, mistakes that time cost Alabama. Alabama, remember what Tom Rinaldi said? Finish, finish, finish. We've heard it all week. We've heard all the bowl preparation from Nick Saban. They were up 21-6 against Ohio State. They've been talking about being aggressive. There was an opportunity to go for a knockout punch, possibly to go up by 20 or 24, and instead the miscues cost him, and Michigan State still has hope and still alive here.
Not finishing against the Buckeyes, who outlasted, outplayed the Tide a year ago in the semifinals in New Orleans. That really shaped the motivation, the hunger for the Tide this season. And see how they handle the lead here. You're right, missed opportunity to add to it. Scott gets a punt up into the jet stream. Kings from 5. Knocked down at the 15. So a long way to go for Connor Cook. Down 17, late 3rd quarter. AT&T's strongest of the strong, taking a look at the senior class of the Spartans, who have achieved a lot. A couple of Big Ten titles, a 43-10 record. 20 fifth-year seniors signed right after Michigan State was hammered by Alabama, the only previous series meeting in the Capital One Bowl. A lot of work for the veteran leadership, Connor Cook included, to try to get back in this game, but they can draw on the fact that they've been down and battled back before. 10 of 19 for Cook, and that one crucial interception just before halftime when the Spartans were threatening. Flying before the snap.
False start. Offense. Number 76. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's one of those seniors, Clark, but every time you get a flag and you back up 5 yards against this Alabama defense, the hill just seems a little steeper, doesn't it?
Yeah, and part of the reason, Chris, this has been so tough tonight is not only is Alabama so strong up front, and they're rotating bodies, they've been able to play almost every snap with 2 safeties deep. And by playing with these 2 safeties back here deep, it takes away the deep threat out here, and it forces Connor Cook to find opportunities here, here, and here, which is tough to do when they throw the football and you have 2 guys deep and you still have 5 underneath in coverage.
And 1st and 15, they feed it to Scott. There just hasn't been any running room for any of the 4 Spartan backs tonight.
Usually the answer for coaches when they have safeties that are staying deep, when you especially have 2 safeties that are deep, they're going to run the football all day on you. They're going to force Kirby Smart to bring one of those safeties down, because without that extra safety down, you're going to be able to run the ball. When you bring that safety down, then you get some one-on-one opportunities. But Alabama's been able to keep, for most of the snaps, 2 safeties high and still stop the run where Michigan State has negative 2 yards rushing.
Cook takes a downfield shot. Kings could not make the catch. Fitzpatrick defending him, and if the Tide can protect this lead, it looks like Kirby Smart may prolong his stay with the Tide and not take over full-time as the Georgia head coach.
But Garrett Kings would love to have an opportunity to be able to hold on to that ball. The senior who has had a career where he's had chances to make plays. It's been, at times he makes big plays, other times he's had a problem with drops. That time that ball gets through, and pretty good coverage there by Minka Fitzpatrick, the true freshman out of New Jersey.
It's about the 3rd drop. You've got to make those plays against a defense this good. And now they've got to get 12 to stay on the field here. Cook pressured. Fires it away, incomplete to avoid the sack. Tim Williams, the speedy edge pass rush specialist, that time got in the quarterback's face, and here comes the intentional grounding flying late.
Yeah, he just threw that football. There was nobody there. He's not outside of the tackle box.
Offense, number 18. The quarterback was in the pocket. There was no eligible receiver in the area. Lost it down at the spot of the foul. 4th down.
How about Tim Williams? 4 sacks in the last 2 games. Just incredible technique with his spin move there. They work so hard on that. He has the left hand that just pulls that offensive tackle and pushes him through. Gets home to the quarterback. Remember, they're rushing 4 guys. They've got 5 underneath to take away the underneath throws, and they've got 2 deep. What are you going to do?
Mark Barger backed up to his end line here. Gets it away quickly. Jones is driven back. It's a nice punt, but he's got room. Cyrus Jones with a crease to the sideline. Still running. Touchdown, Alabama. .57 yards, and the Tide can smell that title game. Non-offensive touchdowns have been a big part of this team's success this season. 9 of them now, Kirk.
And the slash intentional grounding that Tim Williams forced put Cyrus Jones in a position to have a chance at a big return by pushing Michigan State deep into their own territory.
And Cyrus Jones driven back. Wraps the kick beyond the Spartan coverage, and the 4th time this season, number 5 has taken one to the house. 24-0 Alabama, and the deficit growing bigger for Cook. A pick, and now a punt return. What a night from number 5. After the game, stay tuned for SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt. Complete wrap-up on both semifinal games and a peek ahead of the championship game in Glendale a week from Monday. Alabama tightening its grip on this semifinal in Arlington, as Cyrus Jones with something special. This is Shelton trying to answer. Knocked down across the 25. The whole repertoire of Mr. Jones on display here.
Well, the ball did not hang up in the air very long on the punt, but look at this move right here.
And the poor punter.
Poor punter, he just kind of set him up. He just olayed him, and then he's feeling pretty good into the end zone, and Saban pretty excited about that. Let's go 1-1. He's thinking about
that. That's Nick excited.
That's excited. He's thinking 1, going for 1.
Well, Jones made that, as you called it, the perfect technique interception at the end of the half to kill the Spartans' drive. And now the punt return to make it 24-0. Will it be pure hurry up now from the Spartans? Urgency here. This is Burbridge, but just nowhere to run after the catch. Crowd of crimson jerseys knock him down for a 1-yard gain.
Go look at this entire night for the Michigan State offense. Look at this. Look at the far right. I mean, are you kidding me?
Only one drive longer than 33 yards. That, of course, was the drive that ended in the pick at the end of the half. Cook rolling out, batted in the air, almost intercepted. Sean Dion Hamilton, the linebacker, is the guy who got a hand on it, and then it was they were lucky not to have that picked off.
Yeah, he puts his throws back into the coverage. Hamilton gets the hand. How about the effort there by big Denzel Duvall? Also goes up, almost come down with the interception.
3rd and 9 pressure. Cook gets it away. Burbridge could not make the catch. They brought heat that time. But again, a catchable ball for a Michigan State receiver.
Still a tough catch. I mean, it's still a tight window. You had a linebacker, Foster, getting back there. You could see that internal clock. I mean, Connor Cook knows he's got to get the football out. You could see, yeah, Foster 10 got back there and got a hand on the ball to knock that away. But Jones waiting for another one.
SEC is the chant from the Alabama faithful on the far side. And Jones, another chance, this time to the left side. Gave that little high step move again and got across midfield.
He likes that Walter Payton little like hesitation move. You know, he lifts that leg up.
He's feeling it. You're right tonight, though. The All-State bus. Curtis Wilson piloting it around the country. Happy to have him here in Arlington. Curtis will be heading out to Glendale, Arizona. 83 schools, 26 bowl games, millions donated in scholarship money by All-State across the country. So Bama with midfield. Will they begin to feed Henry now? No. Lane Kiffin still wants a play action shot down the field. Ridley running free. Got a touchdown. Second 50-yard connection between Coker and Ridley tonight.
And it's the exact same way that they attacked them earlier. It's the way other teams have tried to attack Michigan State. When you get a receiver matched up in the inside against a safety who's 8 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, Calvin Ridley is full speed by the time Demetrius Cox has a chance to try to defend him. It's really, really tough without being rerouted with that slot receiver. Lane Kiffin deserves a ton of credit for finding ways to get Ridley matched up against the safety. He's right here. He's actually right here. And look at the man who's going to try to cover him. Look at the distance that you have right there. And a little bit of play action, which gets the linebackers up, and now it's just one-on-one right here. He gets exactly what he wants, steps up into the pocket to buy time, and then throws it away from the defender. But it's Calvin Ridley against Demetrius Cox for the second time in a row. Sets him up to the outside, back to the inside. The ball is thrown way to the inside to give the true freshman a chance to run away from Cox, just like Lane Kiffin envisioned it in these 3 weeks of preparation. If you ask him, how do you attack Michigan State? You attack the slot receiver against the safety in man-to-man coverage. It's happened a lot this year to the secondary.
Kiffin going for the kill shot, and the smile from Kirby Smart perhaps, and Jake Coker in the biggest game of his life, the game he's waited his whole life to play, his best game. Career highs in completions and yards, 24 of 29, 280 yards, and the 2 touchdown passes. And I think that Michigan State felt that in the quarterback matchup, Cook far more experienced, he's been steadier. They had to win that head-to-head matchup, perhaps by a big margin. It's gone the other way tonight.
Sure has. He has one of the best games of the year for Jake Coker. But let's give Lane Kiffin kind of a lightning rod. Give him a lot of credit for the game plan and what he's put together tonight. So much about Derrick Henry, but tonight it's about a quick passing game and taking some chances downfield when it was right. And again, Lane Kiffin gets criticized. People need to start embracing him for the offensive mind that he can be.
Well, they feed Scott down 31 now. Final couple minutes of the third quarter. It's been a Lane Kiffin kind of night. He has been criticized. There was even some internal criticism because he wasn't playing to the strengths of the offense, which was the best player, Derrick Henry. Tonight they began from the start, Kirk, to use him as a decoy, and they gave what the defense.
I think early in the year, Chris, he tried to take the blueprint from 2014, the success of Blake Sims and Amari Cooper, where they were spread and tempo, and they tried to figure out if they could run that this year with this offense. And when they lost to Ole Miss, they scrapped it and went back to finding a way to we're going to run the football with Derrick Henry and play action pass.
Shelton, short gain near the marker at the 35, and they will move the chains.
And by the way, they have grown not just with Jake Coker and his confidence. You know about Derrick Henry. The offensive line has been a lot better than where they were early in the year. And how about Calvin Ridley and our Darius Stewart, the receivers that lead that group of wide receivers? They also now are a great complement to Derrick Henry in that running game.
Julio Jones passing the baton to Amari Cooper, part of that championship team. And now to Calvin Ridley. Tide have had a streak of premium wide receivers. This is the Spartans wide receiver, Burbridge in at Wildcat with Scott next to him. He keeps it. Shows the speed on the edge. A stiff arm driven out. First down across the 45. With a few successful running plays for the Spartans tonight.
Yeah, it's been a rough night for that offensive line of Michigan State. A veteran group that really prided themselves, and they were pretty public about their confidence and what they felt that they could do. They felt that Alabama's defensive line had never seen an offensive line like Michigan State's. I don't know if that's the right thing to say publicly about the Alabama defense.
Yeah, I wouldn't stoke them up.
No, I would not either.
That 11-yard run was the longest of the night. It gets them into plus territory. They now, before that play, had a net 2 yards rushing. A couple more there.
Chris, you brought it up earlier about how the defensive line from Alabama is not just talented, but they kind of are the pulse of this team. And when you have a team that self-polices itself at practice and away from the practice facility, they kind of keep their eyes on players. Players fear them because of the consequences. That's a brotherhood on that defensive line.
Almost an interception on the far side in the final play of the third quarter. Marlon Humphrey broke it up, intended for Kings. Alabama 31-zip at the end of 3 in Arlington. Back after these messages at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. And welcome back to the College Football Playoff Semifinal number 2 at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. Beginning of the final quarter. All Alabama. Michigan State threatened at the end of the half, but Cyrus Jones picking off Connor Cook just short of the goal line. Alabama took the second half kickoff. 75 yards for a touchdown. The Spartans self-destructing with a couple of major penalties in that drive, and then the momentum really began to build. Cyrus Jones a punt return for a touchdown, and Ridley on a deep ball from Coker. On 3rd and 8, shovel pass to Price inside. The tight end has some room, a first down and a lot more inside the 35.
Yeah, really good execution here by Cook, who draws a defender to him. Jonathan Allen, the defensive end, also gets Harrison 15 up to him, and because Harrison on a blitz did not recognize the tight end coming underneath, he was able to flip it to him, and he just had a ton of room to run there. One of the better executed run play, or actually it's a little flip, little shovel pass plays we've seen tonight.
Cook against a 4-man rush, delivers behind Price and incomplete.
That previous play was one of the few blitzes we've seen from Bama. They have not needed to blitz at all tonight. Controlling things with their depth on that defensive line, rotating bodies to stay fresh, and whether Michigan State's running or they're in pass protection, has just been domination up front.
Five receivers for Cook to work with. Again, over the middle, it's Burbridge, a catch for a short gain.
Go ahead, Chris.
I talked about Kirby Smart. He was introduced as Georgia's head coach officially the day after Alabama won the SEC championship. He was a former defensive back at Georgia. One of the busiest guys in America, other than you, maybe in the last month, you know, splitting duties between getting this game plan ready. And Nick does demand a little time from his assistants, doesn't he?
A little bit.
And then he's trying to find a staff. He's got about 5 more guys to hire at Georgia, working recruits late at night. And remember about the dogs now.
But he could have left, but he wanted to stay. Not just to be there with his coaching staff, but really it's about the players and trying to finish this year off.
Scott, on 3rd and 5, gets nothing, and it'll be 4th down. Talked about the Saban coaching tree. D'Antonio, of course, worked with him about 15 years ago at Michigan State. Jimbo Fisher was with him at LSU. And then you got 3 guys in the SEC East. Muschamp, McElwain, of course, and Smart. That play is knocked down on 4th down by Reggie Ragland, and the Tide will take over, and Kirby Smart over there jumping around with his linebacker, one of the leaders.
Chris, this is what's going to be great to see when Clemson plays Alabama. It's the test the athletic ability of the linebackers. Reggie Ragland moves to defensive end from time to time, and that time he did. How about the athletic ability on a big 4th down to go up and knock that football away?
And none of Nick Saban's former assistants have come close to beating him. Look at the Nick with a grin there. 8-0 against him. And Jim McElwain, it was a 14-point margin. The SEC championship game, that's actually the closest margin. Antonio looks like he's going to drop to 0-2 against Saban. I asked him, why do you think that is? Because Nick really doesn't enjoy coaching against guys that work for him, that he's close to. And he said, well, because he's got really good teams, the obvious answer. Not because he tries harder, not because the guys who work for him are intimidated by coaching against him. Bama's just really good, and they are again tonight. Henry knocked down for a loss. Derek has not been the story for once. With that loss, it's going to drop his total back to about 63 yards tonight.
He's a tough guy to compete against. I mean, he's built a dynasty in Tuscaloosa. He's got the resources. He's got a machine, you know, what he's able to do. He loses great assistant coaches. He's able to bring in great assistant coaches. It'll be a tough hit losing Kirby Smart to Georgia. But he will restructure and get this staff ready, and just continues to go. But it's tough. It's tough to compete against him no matter who you are, let alone one of his former assistants.
Well, Jeremy Pruitt will take over as defensive coordinator as Ridley takes this little pop pass, and Ridley trying to add to his big evening, driven down after about an 8-yard gain. It'll be 3rd down. Pruitt has been hanging around here, not allowed to yet coach, but he's been at the practices. An Alabama graduate who comes back home in that position.
Just a couple years ago, coaching as the defensive coordinator for Florida State in a national championship season. There he is standing up there in the background.
Alabama has perhaps set a world record, at least a college football record, with the number of guys that they have in their coaching box. Often it's a dozen or more. They got a whole bunch of consultants and quality control. Look at it's a good thing the coaching boxes are huge in this stadium.
Good thing we're in an NFL stadium here.
Coker diving, still headlong, trying to move the chains on 3rd down, comes up a couple yards short. He's still doing what he does. He's still selling out.
Remember the mantra, finish. I mean, it's 31-0, and they don't even see the scoreboard. They don't even have any idea what the score is. They're trying to execute as if the game is tied right now.
They've executed in just about every facet pretty well, including Scott, who's gotten off some nice punts tonight. They have won the special teams battle, an area that I think the Spartans felt they needed to look for every edge tonight. Another department in which Alabama has dominated. And that's another deep punt from the sophomore. King's driven back inside his 15, and the coverage for Alabama that time swarming down there and drops him right there. 10:53 to play. Bama rolling toward Arizona. With this game, there's a blimp decal on one of the windows of this place. The real blimp is overhead. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. There it is. This place where Alabama had hoped to reach a year ago, stumbling at the semifinal hurdle against Ohio State in the Superdome. This is where they began this season, wearing down a Big Ten team in Wisconsin. Even more impressive tonight. They really have grown as the season's gone on. Chasing Cook again. He runs out across the 15 after a short gain. We wondered, Kirk, at that time, what would the offensive identity of this team be? Who would the quarterback be? Could it be Coker? Perhaps Cooper Bateman? And here we are 14 games later, and we see a fully formed Alabama team.
Yeah, from that loss, they became a different team, and Derrick Henry started to get his opportunities. And I think Jake Coker just started to play with a little bit more of an edge. I think with the more success he had, you could see him smiling there. I think he became more confident. Remember, he's been through a lot throughout his career, starting in Tallahassee as a backup to Jameis Winston.
Cook dumps it off incomplete out of the hands of Price. Coker, a guy, Kirk, like so many quarterbacks who are perfectionists, really was unable to do what Cook has been able to do in his career, which is shake off a bad play and a mistake. And at times, I think you'd agree, he didn't play very forceful because he was so afraid of making that mistake.
Yeah, whether it was Florida State when he was trying to compete with Jameis Winston, replace E.J. Manuel, I think he put a lot on himself and tried to execute. And if things didn't go well, I think he struggled with making a mistake. I think that carried over into his competition with Blake Sims a year ago, and maybe even this year early against Cooper Bateman. And then after being benched, he kind of got just upset.
Sure did. Responded very well to that bench. He played well as the Tide came close to coming back against Ole Miss, and from that point on showed his toughness. And it hasn't always been pretty, let's be honest. Sometimes the pass game execution has been pretty painful, but tonight, a night he'll never forget.
No. And like I said, imagine the year that he had after everything that he's been through, transferring over from Florida State, everybody assuming he would beat Blake Sims out, not beating out Blake Sims, coming in this year, getting benched, and to be able to finish off this year the way he did, winning an SEC championship game, getting voted by his teammates as a captain, and then getting a chance in a playoff and playing the way he has tonight, 25 of 30 for 287.
Jones, fair catch. Spartans trying to work their way back into the game. 5 possessions after halftime. 4 3-and-outs. She's happy he's not.
Sage Steele here in Times Square for Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest. My favorite act of the night coming up in just a couple minutes. Carrie Underwood, exactly 11:39 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on ABC. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Sage, thank you. About 43 minutes left. 42:07 exactly as we count down in Times Square. 9.5 left here in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. This will not be the most exciting New Year's Eve of your life, I'm going to guess.
No, I'll be in the air. Heading out to Pasadena. We got a 3-hour game day tomorrow morning. You got to be ready to go.
I know you'll be ready.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't what I was going for. As Drake gets the edge and shows the speed into Spartan territory, cuts back, still running. Kenyon Drake dragged down at the 10 by Calhoun. You said he'd have a monster play tonight. It came in the fourth quarter.
Well, he has such speed, and he's able to get to the outside. Calvin Ridley comes up with a block, a crack block. There's nobody left to the outside because the corner, Edmondson, followed Ridley to the inside. So Ridley essentially takes 2 defenders away, and then it's just Kenyon Drake and that tremendous speed that he has in the open field.
So not Henry, but Drake, the first really big running play of the night, 58 yards. And the Tide trying to deliver an even bigger beat down here. Drake knocked down for a short gain.
Talk about finish. How about the veteran, the senior, the center, Ryan Kelly? See if we can pick him up here. There's Drake. He gets to the edge because of the block by Ridley, but Ryan Kelly is downfield. 60, look at him, he's 60 yards downfield. Coach said finish, and he's trying to set an example here as a veteran, all the way down to about the 10-yard line, still running down there. Well, he is the glue to that offensive line, and with some of the issues they had at quarterback early in the year, 2 new offensive guards on the left and right, he keeps it together.
Henry cuts it back, tries to bounce it, gets past Calhoun, headed for the end zone. Another touchdown for the Tide. The second for the Heisman winner tonight.
Here's that stiff arm. Look at him push away Calhoun. That is a big man at 255, 260 pounds. He just throws him to the side right there with that stiff arm that's becoming legendary. And then the speed to get to that corner of the end zone for the touchdown.
Pylon cam showing you the dive. So Henry up to 75 yards rushing. Only 3.8 per carry in those 2 touchdowns. They don't quit, these guys, do they?
No.
Midway fourth. And Griffith to make it 38-0. Not the busiest or the biggest night for sure for his season. Other guys have shared the spotlight, but Henry with a powerful move reaches pay dirt for the second time. Cranking Leonard Skinnard's Sweet Home Alabama, and the Tide against an Alabama alum. Dabo Sweeney and the Clemson Tigers, a collision course since the 2nd edition of the playoff committee rankings came out back on November 10th. Tigers and the Tide have been 1-2. Just maybe the committee had it right again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got to give them credit.
Sure do.
As we begin to talk about the championship matchup a week from Monday, reminder that tomorrow on ESPN, Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl gets things going at 1 o'clock Eastern. Fighting Irish against the Buckeyes. Who's going to be more motivated in that game? The beauty of the Rose Bowl. Christian McCaffrey and Stanford against the tough Iowa Hawkeyes, and then Oklahoma State and Ole Miss in the All-State Sugar Bowl in prime time.
Don't forget the championship drive tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Over at the Rose Bowl will lead right up to the Fiesta Bowl at Ohio State and Notre Dame.
You got any gas in the tank left for that, my man? You're going to get out there in Pasadena?
Are you kidding me? We'll be courtside right there on the field in the corner.
Perhaps Connor Cook's night in career are finished. It's Damian Terry, the sophomore. No, Cook's actually still in the game, but with Terry is playing quarterback, and he's going to take off. And the talented runner who took turns with Tyler O'Connor in the win at Ohio State and makes the first down.
Yeah, he had carries the football, does a really good job with his athletic ability. Gives this Alabama defense a little bit of a different look. Picks up some yards.
And Cook is still in there. They just brought Terry in and
Yep.
tried to trick the Tide.
Picked up some yards.
You don't think Alabama's defense, with many of the starters still out there, are intent on protecting the shutout, do you? And it's a throwback to Price, and gets a block on the edge, muscles for about 5, and gets knocked down, and a flag comes out for a late hit on the Tide.
The late hit looked like it came from an Alabama player on the sideline. Looked like Tim Williams actually made the hit. He's not even on the field. Ryan Anderson chased him out of bounds, 22.
After the play, personal foul, late hit, defense number 22. 15-yard penalty from the dead ball spot, automatic first down.
Watch, Ryan Anderson pushes him out of bounds, but he pushes him right into Tim Williams. He gives him a little shove here, but guess who he shoves him into? He brings that forearm up into the face of the tight end.
Penalty moves it to the 42 of Alabama. And for pride, certainly the Spartans would love to get on the board here. Cook flips it short. And London's knocked out of bounds. Another first down. You recall the 21-0 shutout of LSU, the payback game, the BCS championship game in the Superdome. That's the last shutout in Alabama's bowl history.
Well, that is the motivation right now.
We saw them practice with such intensity. Clearly, Nick Saban knows what he's doing, but you did wonder, did they leave a lot on the practice field? Would they have that edge, that energy needed for the game after practicing so hard, hitting so much? And Kirk, spending so much emotional energy. The guys we talked a lot about tonight, Allen and Robinson and Reed, very animated in practice. Tony Brown, a backup defensive back, was sent home from this bowl trip for undisclosed reasons, but I think the leadership council, those guys had a lot to do with it. They just didn't like his attitude.
That's what's different about this team than the last couple years. They've got a core group of players that, probably because of some past experience failures, losing to Oklahoma in a Sugar Bowl, losing to Ohio State last year in a playoff, they experienced that, and that has really, those defeats it's driven this team as a group to be different this year.
London cannot escape his knockdown. It's going to be third down.
See, I think that's what's different. You watch Alabama, you see their front, you see all the talent, you see all these recruits that they bring in, but you go back and look at the championships that Nick Saban's won, and there's been a leader. There's been 2 or 3 guys on defense, and Reggie Ragland's one of those guys. There's been 2 or 3 guys on offense. The intangibles of this team are every bit as strong as the actual physical aspect of the XOs of this team. And when you have both, you have a special group.
And Saban has a special feel about this team for the reasons you just said. He really wants to win a championship for their sake. Really not to add to his total, and you can believe him when he says that. I mean, obviously, getting to number 5, truly special, within 1 of the total that Paul Bryant had at Alabama, and 3 of Bryant's national championships were shared titles, and the 2 wire polls were split. 3 were outright. This potentially, if he can beat Clemson, a 5th for Saban.
And instead of Michigan State trying to kick a field goal to avoid the shutout, they're trying to go for it here on 4th down.
And the Tide fans, who are all still here, are up and making noise. They fake it to London. Cook still has it, throws back, and incomplete. Trying to get it to Kevin Pendleton, but Bradley Silv was right there in the time. Will take over again. 4:29 from the finish line.
Yeah, they tried to sneak the fullback out on a wheel route, just kind of slid him out of the backfield, but yet again the discipline Bradley Silv, the senior, right where he needs to be. playing great coverage, and Alabama holds on to that shutout.
So Bama takes over. Their opponent a week from Monday in Glendale, Clemson. They met 15 times. Alabama has won the last 12. Of course, Dabo Swinney was a receiver for the Crimson Tide, part of that '92 national championship team under Coach Gene Stallings is very important to him. Other connections between the schools, of course, Danny Ford, who won Clemson's only previous championship. An Alabama grad, as we see the talented true freshman Bo Scarborough has had a knee injury much of the season, but a monster future. He figures to take over the Derrick Henry role next year.
Well, he'll definitely be in the rotation and be in the mix along with the true freshman Damian Harris. But Jake Coker's night is over, and Cooper Bateman now in, and it's nice to see a big smile from Jake Coker. You know, he's been under such stress and just dealing with being the quarterback at Bama. He goes 25 of 30 in a playoff game for 287 yards and more importantly in command without making any mistakes.
Congratulations from Derrick Henry to his quarterback. You were the man
no,
tonight.
For real. He said for real.
You were the man.
Yeah, you playing tonight.
Scarborough, he wants to make the most of his opportunities, and he's a load too. And look at the Alabama bench.
Look at the top there. Look at Cam Robinson and Event. Look at him. Look at him. That's what you love to see is instead of the starters drinking water and talking to each other, look at Jaron Reed. This is a great example of what's different about Alabama. The starters are just as excited for the backups because they're out there competing. Look at them. They're all up near the sideline cheering on these backups that are in the game right now. That's the mark of a great team.
Motto finish. By the way, don't think that they think they're finished tonight. There'll be no big celebration. Reaching the championship game, never the goal for Alabama. Being the last team standing is really the only thing they play for. And now it's another true freshman, Damian Harris, who's a talented back, getting his turn. Saw Clemson play tremendous defense in the second half. They really wore down the Sooners. Shaq Lawson, one of their defensive leaders for the Tigers, went out very early. He, by the way, has said he expects to play.
Great.
He's got a knee injury. We saw him on the sidelines with the ice. He didn't come back in after going out, but he says at least hopefully that he's going to be ready to play a week from Monday.
You brought up Dabo Swinney, and how exciting would it be to see Dabo Swinney, not just against Alabama, but Deshaun Watson's playmaking ability, the ability to throw the ball to those wide receivers, the way he can run and create. He's the poster boy as far as quarterbacks that give Alabama trouble. And we're going to get to see that matchup against that Alabama defense.
Scarborough hit for a lot. No doubt the Capital One pivotal performance goes to tonight. Jake Coker. So Ridley, this was the 50-yard play that set up the 1-yard run. This was the one they gave to Ridley on the review. The tremendous hand strength in that catch. And then the true freshman running free, winning the one-on-one matchup. Almost a flawless night for number 14. It really was.
Sure was. Playing with confidence, playing his best football at the right time, going into that championship game.
Exactly, and you wonder how this will carry forward because this has not been the Coker we've seen all that often this year, let's be honest. And now Kiffin perhaps will really believe that he can count on this quarterback. Bateman, meanwhile, trying to make his mark, delivers a low throw. You know Henry's a given. If Coker can play like this, you've got Ridley out there. Offensive line doing its job, and we know about the defense. Tough to handle. They'll be a 7-point favorite over Clemson. The Bear, Chris Felica, informing us of that early line.
He already has that information. I can't say enough about Lane Kiffin, Chris. I mean, he is a coach that has had, you know, when he was hired by Nick Saban a couple years ago, even the Alabama fans, their ears kind of perked up like, Lane Kiffin's going to work for Nick Saban? And think about his demeanor watching him at practice. You don't even know he's on the practice field. It's almost like Tom Landry as far as his approach and how quiet he deals with his quarterback.
I've never heard that comparison made. Lane Kiffin.
No. I'm saying his demeanor.
No, I know what you mean.
And the way he talks. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying his antics and some of the things he does, but I'm just saying the way he talks. Like it's like he's whispering to his quarterbacks throughout practice,
Exactly
and they seem to respond to that too.
The Ford GT post game will wrap up this route by Alabama. And look ahead, we'll have the trophy presentation as well. And begin to digest very compelling matchup in Glendale, Arizona. Clemson will arrive undefeated. Alabama will arrive with an 11-game winning streak since that loss at home to Ole Miss. A lot of good memories in this season for the Spartans as well, as Connor Cook just flips it off short, incomplete. This is a season that will be remembered for a long time in East Lansing. The stirring comeback against Michigan, and then Ohio State, the rally against Iowa, that 22-play touchdown drive in the closing seconds. They reached what they call their goal, which is the Big Ten championship, and is usually going to be good enough to get into the Final Four, but we're overmatched tonight physically.
No doubt. No doubt about it.
Just 215 total yards for the Spartans. Cook fires, and Burbridge, who really wasn't able to make a big play, loses the ball that went out of bounds first. Cook, 34 games won in his career, and lose for just the 5th time. He's had great success against good teams like Alabama. Wasn't helped by any kind of running game tonight. Constantly pressured. It did make the mistake just before halftime. It was crucial. One of the top quarterback prospects, all the analysts say, for the draft. Kirk Cousins, of course, his predecessor, having a nice time with the Redskins.
Yeah. Brian Hoyer is still out playing and contributing, obviously doing a great job starting in the NFL. Michigan State, you start to look at some of the quarterbacks they've had come through East Lansing. It is pretty remarkable what they've done. And Connor Cook, you would think, will be the next one in line to get his opportunity too.
Michigan State will have to replace 20 fifth-year seniors, the nucleus of this team, the leaders, and 3 other seniors also moving on. So D'Antonio will have a lot of pieces to replace going forward. Cook working over the middle, and the catch is made by D'Anthony Arnett out to the 45.
The tough thing for Mark D'Antonio is he has brought this program so far in these last 4 or 5 years. You just wonder if a loss like this on this biggest stage, what that does to the brand of Michigan State. I would look at them and you could argue that they have as many wins as almost anybody in the country in the last 3 or 4 years.
5 11-win seasons in the last 6 as Cook flips it down. Who's mobbed by his teammates, the senior, with his first pick of the season. Wow, what a catch.
How about him going up into the air, making the play, and then getting his foot down? Look at Kirby Smart's trying to make a play on the ball. He's over here. Nick's right there. Oh, he makes the catch, gets his knee down for the interception.
That's a linebacker.
Yeah.
Two-handed grab, does get the knee and the elbow down as Cook is picked up for the 2nd time.
You see his eyes watching that ball. We're going the other way. And that secures the shutout.
Almost a smile from Nick there. A lot of smiles from Lee and his teammates.
And with one more game to go, it'll be an interesting challenge for Tom Rinaldi to see if he can get a smirk. Because he still have one more ball game to go.
And I'm not counting on that. It's Bateman out for victory formation. Total team win for the Tide. Defense set the tone, blanking the Spartans. Alabama bullying the Big Ten champions and booking a spot in the national championship game opposite Clemson in Glendale a week from Monday. Emphatic and dominant. Let's get Saban's reaction with Tom Rinaldi. Tom?
Chris, thank you very much. You reached this stage a year ago and didn't get the result you wanted. Why was it different tonight?
Well, I think the players learned a lot from last year's game, and they looked at it like they just wanted to participate in the game. I think today they wanted to do something a little bit different and sort of kind of try to take over the game, and I think we did that in the second half.
So much attention focused on Derrick Henry during the weeks leading to this game. What did you learn about your quarterback tonight?
Well, I think the way they play and the way that they played us, that it was going to be difficult to run the ball, so we knew Jake was going to have to throw it and do a good job of it, and he did a fantastic job of making some big plays, and our receivers did a great job of getting downfield on their safeties.
A shutout speaks for itself, but I'll ask you to speak for your defense. How would you describe their performance?
Well, they played well. 2 minutes before the half, we wasn't great on, but we intercepted the ball down there. But, we did a good job today. I think the rush, affected the quarterback some, and we did a pretty good job of covering him for the most part.
You now face #1 Clemson. Dabo Swinney's fond of saying, bring your own guts. What will the Tide bring to the national championship game?
Well, we'd like to enjoy this game for 24 hours, but, Clemson's got a great team. They're undefeated. Got a great program. So, I'm sure our guys are going to be motivated to, try to do the best they can, to play the best they can in the game. And it's a great opportunity for them. And I'm just proud as hell of them for getting to where they are and doing what they did all year long since the Ole Miss game.
What are the chances we'll see a smile right now?
Well, we got another game.
I told you. I told you.
Appreciate it. Let's go to Heather.
I don't know how to follow that, Tom. We are definitely going to smile over here with Jake Coker, the winning quarterback. And Jake, you grew up dreaming about being quarterback for this team, but you had quite a detour to get here. Went to Florida State, then came here and had to sit behind Blake. What does it mean to you to be the quarterback of this team, knowing just how long and how hard it was to get to this point?
It means a lot to me to play quarterback at Alabama. Like you said, I pulled for them all my life, and the thing that makes it even more special is the group of guys that just came together, and everybody plays for each other, and there's one guy that's not happy about how we play today, or not happy they didn't get the ball, or it's just it's a special team that I couldn't be prouder of, and couldn't ask to be a part of a better group of guys.
And Jake, talk about seizing the moment. At what point tonight could you tell that this was going to be a special night for you?
Well, right when the game ends, we win, and I couldn't be happier. But this game doesn't mean nothing until after this game we're playing here in a couple days.
Coach talks so much about how things really changed, especially for you. You won this team over after the Ole Miss loss. How did this team change, and how did you change to help you guys get to this point?
I think we all just came together and started playing, better team football. We understood what we had to do to get where we are right now, and everybody did a great job of doing that. And like I said, it's just unselfishness and guys playing for each other.
And I love it. The back of the hat that you were just handed actually says "one not done," because you've still got a lot to do. So you face the #1 team in the nation in Clemson. What's it going to take for you guys to be one and not done, and keep this momentum going?
Just got to keep the focus that we had in preparation for this game. I know they're a great team, and I didn't get to see the game today, but I heard they played pretty well. So we respect them and everything, but we just got to be focused and play our game.
Certainly a great matchup that we're certainly looking forward to. We will see you in Glendale. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Chris, back to you.
Self-proclaimed country boy, very proud of the hunting and fishing trophies that he's collected. Starting to pile up some pretty important football trophies as well, this Jake Coker. And Alabama with an emphatic statement, a shutout of the Big Ten champions, will go to Glendale, Arizona, Kirk, as the favorites to win another championship. But Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers will like that underdog role. They'll play the disrespect card for the next 10, 11 days.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing that's going to be great about the build-up is going to be Deshaun Watson and that offense. The tempo, the spread, the athletic quarterback against this Alabama defense. Their entire focus has been to prepare for that kind of offense and that kind of quarterback. So we're going to get an answer there in the championship.
Partner, enjoyed finishing the year with you. Safe travels to Pasadena. Of course, we'll see you in Glendale, Arizona. In just a little while here, you can zip over to New York. Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest on ABC. And the drop of the ball inside 15 minutes. But in the meantime, we'll present the trophies. The Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic to Alabama on the Ford GT postgame show. And continue to look ahead to the championship matchup between Alabama and Clemson.